Yeah, yeah. Cool. That's a couple things up. There we go. Oh, yeah, hold on. That just kind of helps to have that on. Alright. Okie dokie. There we go. Ooh. Yeah, sure, none was popped. Don't need these popping off. Cool. Let's get a bowl loaded up. Alright, bowl loaded up and ready to go. Alright, let's get this nice, lovely little thing smoked all the way up. Ah, so much better. After a nice hard day at work. Honestly, today was actually a pretty good day today. Honestly, tomorrow's going to even be better. So I'm definitely going to be 100% okay with this weekend. It's going to be nice. Then Monday, that's going to be fun because I'm going to be doing some ribs. Cook some of that shit up. It's not going to how we usually do it. Used to do it with coal and stuff, but now we got propane. Go ahead and kill on people. To the fighting rebel boy. We've had girls before, but we need some more industrial workers of the world. Yeah, let's see what type of stuff I can pick aside for the tube. Oops. There's actually a couple things. I just remember sharing a few things, so I know there's a few stuff. Why cops are not have no duty to protect you? Of course. Cops never had a duty to protect. So that'll definitely be one thing to check out. Because, oh, you just gotta love the cops. Just being, you know, this whole idea of protecting the serve event, never truly actually being willing to do any of the actual protecting. So I like how the news is spreading about the progressive ousting Biden. Or the Biden-backed fucking candidate Schrader. Now that it's official. Well, that's always some fun shit. I love it. I kind of find it interesting how whenever there is a corporate establishment shitbag, there always seems to be an interesting notion of a lot of progressives or lefties that seem to make waves during that time. It's as if having a shit live in a corporatist actually doesn't necessarily get you the wins. I love it though. It's great. There we go. Cool. Let's see. Oklahoma becomes first state to enact a total abortion ban. Oh my god. That's just fucking great. Isn't that always pleasing? Yay. Yay. What other type of things? Candace Owens blames trans people for Uvalde school shooting. Are we fucking... Not even like the transfers like Alex Jones was talking about, just trans people. It's just in general. It's like it was literally all trans people that did the shooting in Uvalde. Like they all literally got together and just like sent in shit, like, you know, by voting or something, you know, to send in one of our own. It's like, what the fuck? Oh my god, Candace Owens is just such a dumb fucking bitch. Not by accident, though. Someone like her, it's always been pretty much very purposeful. Purposely looks stupid, so if anyone actually, you know, tries to call her out for being stupid, then it's like, what, you racist? You think, oh, blah, 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 blah. Then they use the weird, like, woke scold erase card on you when you fucking call them out on it. It's like, nah, that's like, shut the fuck up. As far as I'm concerned, it don't work like that, shit. I just find it really amusing that there's always going to be a few weird conservative yokels that are just going to be like, yep, even though I utterly hate minorities, just one person's okay. Because then it just lets some of these weird self-hating grifter types that, you know, just basically use it as like a little token thing of like, see, I'm the good one now. Even though really fundamentally they aren't. They just only are useful as a little puppet, you know, just because they happen to have similar ideological backing. But if it came down to the real root of what, you know, a lot of the people to want that a lot of these people like Candace advocate for, they would not be a part of it whatsoever. You know, might as well check out this video about Oklahoma being a shitbag state. Yeah, Oklahoma. Good job being a shithole.
So while the rest of us were trying to process the onslaught of negative headlines and multiple mass shootings in the span of a couple of weeks, lawmakers in Oklahoma were plotting and scheming, and they decided to, while nobody was paying attention, become the first state in the nation to enact a total abortion ban. Total ban. That means from the moment of conception, it is illegal for women to have abortions in this state. You know, as Jake Johnson of Common Dreams explains, Oklahoma on Wednesday became the first state in the U.S. to enact a total ban on abortion after Republican Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill that outlaws the procedure at fertilization and deputizes private citizens to enforce the prohibition, modeled after...
What? To enforce it? Jesus Christ. It's like, yeah, we'll just have vigilantes try to enforce this type of shit. Jesus, okay, oh my god.
What are we bullshitting about tonight?
Oklahoma is the first state to do a absolute like total abortion ban, like across the entire board, and basically like a part of it is like, yeah, we'll also have like deputized citizens that, you know, can, yeah, help crack down on it. It's like, oh my god. So basically like fucking vigilantes, like, yeah, you know, that are essentially, you know, looking around trying to find fucking, I guess, random people that may be pregnant and the assumption that they might be getting an abortion or something. I guess it's just like, it's like, what the fuck?
Similarly draconian ban.
Dude, you were still going to town.
Several increasingly extreme bills
bro.
that state-level Republicans advanced following the leak of a draft opinion, making clear the right-wing Supreme Court's majority intention to overturn Roe v. Wade in the coming weeks.
I know, dude.
Galvanized by the end of Roe, Republicans in Florida are eyeing a total ban on abortion as GOP leaders and right-wing groups continue laying the groundwork for a potential attack on reproductive rights at the federal level. Minnie Timaru, president of NARAL, Pro-Choice America, called the new Oklahoma law, which took effect immediately, cruel and terrifying, and voiced solidarity with our partners on the ground working to fight this. The Oklahoma ban includes exceptions in cases of rape and incest, but
this guy literally just, like, I don't know who this governor, like, Brian Stemp or some shit. This dude just literally looks like he will, like, straight up just forcibly, like just rape a chick or something. He just has, like, this weird, like, fucking demented look about him. He just looks like he would...
Chamo.
Yeah, he definitely has this look of like, I will forcibly fuck you whether you like it or not.
reported, rendering the narrow exceptions largely meaningless. While the law explicitly doesn't apply to Plan B, state-level GOP lawmakers have signaled their intention to target emergency contraceptives with future legislation. 2 of Oklahoma's 4 abortion clinics had already been forced to stop offering abortion care after Stitt signed into law a separate 6-week ban earlier this month. The measure that Stitt signed Wednesday will compel the 2 other abortion clinics to cease operations, cutting off services for Oklahomans as well as Texans who have been traveling to the neighboring state to receive care. Oklahoma's total abortion ban empowers private citizens to sue providers as well as anyone who aids and abets an abortion, an enforcement mechanism designed to evade legal challenges. The reward for successful lawsuits is at least $10,000. Now, to be clear, the bounty hunter laws are indeed written to avoid constitutional challenges, as the article explains, but cultivating this climate of paranoia, making sure that you turn citizens against each other for monetary reward, this is a fascistic tactic.
I mean, it's just like fucking insane, really. Especially just on the surface of it. Like, hey, like, you know, we suspect that there could potentially be, you know, some women out there that might be trying to get an abortion or something like that, so, you know, any civilian that gets deputized can essentially, for monetary gain, you know, just basically, like, you know, start dividing up, you know, certain people of their community, essentially thinking, which one of these people I suspect is, you know, trying to get this right now? It's just fucking ridiculous.
The haze.
The insane haze.
Yes.
It's basically like, because honestly, there's no real strong way to enforce this, outside of trying to basically have civilians do it, and they're just basically gonna do so on personal vendetta. It's like, what? My son, is having a relationship with you and you're trying to abort? It's like, it's basically gonna be a lot of random scenarios like that and shit, or vice versa. Where you have like families that are like heavily adamant about making sure that they hate their kids, go the right way or whatever weird fuck, and then just like, if they decide they want to go against their, specific wishes and want to do their own thing, then it's like, nope.
To be something that we see happen again and again, and Oklahoma may be the one domino that makes the others fall. Perhaps Florida follows suit. Because if you can absorb all of the backlash, then other governors can do what you're doing and not take as much heat. So I wouldn't be surprised if other states like Florida follow suit. Now, I want to share an interview with the governor from a couple of weeks ago. This is about a week and a half ago, to be clear, give or take. But he's going to talk about the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and this is after he signed a 6-week abortion ban into law. Now, take notice how unmoved he is by facts and reason.
All right, with the appearance from this leaked draft opinion, if it remains and becomes the majority opinion, that Roe may be going down. You've signed a trigger law that would make it a felony to perform an abortion, punishable by up to 10 years in jail and up to $100,000 in fines. Dr. Maya Bass, who performs abortions there in Oklahoma, says this: these laws are being created by people who have no medical expertise. They're not being created with patient safety or medical outcomes in mind. They're created entirely to control bodies. Your response?
Well, my response is I represent 4 million Oklahomans. I don't know how much clearer we can be. We believe life begins at conception, and we're going to protect life in Oklahoma. There were 5,000 just in Oklahoma alone.
Well, not actually doing any fucking policies that actually does help fucking life at all. Like, whatsoever. It's like, yeah, we want to protect life in the womb and stuff, but once you're out of it, fuck you. Bootstraps, bitch.
Unborn children that were
figure it out
last year, and we don't believe that in Oklahoma. Other states can do things differently, but we're going to stand for life in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay, a group called The Frontier, a journalistic group, has looked into what they say some fact checks on what you're saying about how people in Oklahoma feel about abortion. They cite a Pew Research study. They say the most recent numbers they have are from 2014, found that 51% of Oklahoman respondents believed abortion should be legal in all or most cases. So within the last few years, they say your state was pretty evenly split, actually, on this issue.
Well, some of those,
wow, he immediately fucking had a... He just had a Windows error moment. Like, oh my lord, it's like, well, yeah, but I guess some of the numbers,
facts or those newspapers that you're quoting, they're not what we find with the people in Oklahoma. These bills, the representatives are elected from all over the state of Oklahoma. Probably 80-90% passage in our state. So I totally disagree with those numbers.
Okay, so let's talk about another law that you signed, much like in what your neighboring state, Texas, has done.
I deny reality.
For private causes of action.
I don't think it's a split issue here, even though it is.
Facilitates an abortion. This can be including someone who pays for one after a heartbeat is detected, roughly 6 weeks. We've got brand new Fox News polling on this and how people feel about at that 6-week mark. About 50% say they think at 6 weeks abortion should remain legal. Now, your law, as I understand it, has no exceptions for rape or incest, and the argument is a victim may not know at 6 weeks that she is.
Oh, so if one of your family members decide to fucking cuss or fuck you, well, guess what? You're keeping that baby too. If someone happened to rape you because they got a little too drunk and had to wait for you or some shit or whatever the fuck, it's like you just got raped or something. Guess what? You're having that baby too. If one family member decided to cuss and rape you, then guess what? Also a baby. It's like, oh my god.
A woman who finds herself in that situation, lives in your state, and she's got no options.
Your cat got on me.
Well, first off, super compassionate about
Bandito one a little.
Cannot even imagine
no, I wouldn't pick him up.
What that would be like and that hardship.
When I
you
point
have
him
to
out, you
choose-
just want
that
to
is a
absorb
human
him
being
into your
inside
chest
the
and just be like,
womb.
yes.
And we're gonna do everything we
Just like,
can to protect
okay, whatever.
life and love both the
Yeah.
mother and the child. And we don't think that killing one to protect another is the right thing to do either. And our heart is super
That's fucked.
compassionate about that.
Yeah, because also there's been plenty of cases where the life of the woman's at risk, where they could potentially die, and even the baby too during
Birth?
Yeah, I mean sometimes there's been cases where the mother may die, but the baby lives, and vice versa and shit. But it's just like there are very strong instances that shit like that could happen.
Yeah.
And but luckily at least there's alternatives
Well, I
to that
mean, you
usually,
figure
like
out that-
C-sections
I
and
mean,
shit. But
if the baby's gonna fucking kill you,
yeah.
do you want to take that fucking risk?
Honestly, yeah, seriously. I mean, that hence, why, those type of things are at least, or at least were, in place to at least, to protect, things like that. Because sometimes it is a medical necessity. I mean, sometimes, it could just be because of the baby itself due to, like, a genetic factor where they might be terminally ill, and it's like, well, might as well, try again at that point. I mean, it's... What's the point of, giving birth to a kid that might only be alive for a couple days, versus at least having, a child that could live a far more long, productive life, so.
That's how I was.
Yeah.
I was 3 months.
Is we want all the services, the state, the nonprofits to come around with adoption services, and that's super hard, and we're going to do everything we can to help them, but aborting that child we don't think is the right thing to do.
Super sorry. We feel really bad for that rape victim who we're forcing to carry that baby to term.
Yeah.
But I hope she knows how bad we feel.
Oh, we feel so bad that, to like one of your family members kind of, fucked you, and now you're pregnant because of that. Oh, we're very sorry about that, but have the damn baby.
Yeah.
Because, incest definitely,
Well, you don't have the fucking right when you're fucking... You have no... I mean, you have rights when you're fucking young, but
yeah.
not those fucking rights.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, especially when you're in a room, like, you literally aren't a, like, conscious sentient thing yet. You're just, like, I mean, when, like, I don't remember shit, obviously, from that time, of the developmental stage, so it's like, I mean, it just doesn't make sense, when it comes to that shit. At least the basic rights of, like, alright, when it comes to at least, the parents and their decision to have the child and shit. And then making sure that said child has a very long, productive, fulfilling life. But that's, a choice for the parents, too. And they should have options available for them if they decide to maybe change their mind or, maybe wait a little bit or whatever. Or just, maybe they just don't want to have a child. So, well, I guess they wouldn't be parents at that point, but, I mean, either way.
Are so callous. These are sociopaths. These are evil people. Now, as far as I understand it, the rape exception only kicks in between weeks 0 and 6, but because of the previous law that they signed, the trigger law that was referenced in that interview, the exception for rape or incest goes away after the 6th week. It's really unclear because you have overlapping laws here.
I saw this video and I hope Tornado touches down in the state but only hits his governor's home, F5. Yeah, the dude literally looks like, I'm not even kidding, like some sort, if he wasn't a governor, he reminds me of, like, he literally looks like a dude who would be like some schlubby, like, sexual creepo at like some bar that's like kind of seedy, and, basically, every now and then probably, sizes up a victim to rape, you know what I mean? He literally looks like one of those dudes. He just looks like the weird sleazy bar perv that, is looking to sexually assault a few women at the bar or some shit, you know what I mean? It's like, no thank you. Like, the dude just straight up looks like a fucking creep. I mean, you can kind of see him right there. I mean, in the back, and on this little TV screen there, this is the thumbnail of this video. Yeah, look at this fucking freak. Like, that dude, like, I mean, if I was a woman, I would look at that face and think, he probably is gonna rape me. No. Like, I think that, and I'm a dude. Like, I feel like if he was drunk enough and saw me, he'd be like, you know what, you look like woman enough. It's like, Jesus. Dude, just, like, he gives me some fucking vibes that I do not like. I mean, most of these Republican fucks do, but This guy hits, like, you know, some vibe, some certain nerves. I'm just like,
Extremely barbaric.
Give it a
Most
like.
women don't know that they're pregnant at 6 weeks. That could be a late period. Not even knowing that they're pregnant. And now, banned. Insane.
I mean, if there is gonna be some weird fucking, like, regulation of, like, you can't have it after a certain point unless it's, like, blah, 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 like, medical necessity shit, like, have it at 12 or fucking, like, 14 or something. This guy goes to shakes hands. Nah, I don't want to know where it's been. Dude, because honestly, I guarantee you it's always in his pants in some way, shape, or form when he has a chance. Oh, my God. The dude strikes me as that much of a fucking creep. He just really, dead ass, looks creepy as fuck.
Barbaric country that we live in. And this is not going to get rid of abortions in the state of Oklahoma. It will just force women to pursue unsafe, illegal abortions. And this is going to cause lots
Or just spend a lot of fucking gas money, which is where a lot of these fucking vigilante things, you know, come into place too. To fucking drive out of state to a neighboring state that may have at least, you know, more accessibility to abortion rights in comparison to Oklahoma, obviously. So, and that's just depending on where the fucking woman lives too. But that's why they are incentivizing fucking basically bounty hunters, you know, and shit, because if they see, you know, a mother and, you know, their daughter, or like, you know, a woman, or, you know, and their partner or some shit going, you know, out of state for some reason, if, you know, nothing that looks like they are going to have a little weekend honeymoon or something like that. It's like, looks like there's about $25K in it for me, you know, to stop these people. It's like, oh, uh-oh. I mean, honestly, this could straight up lead to some pretty nasty shit, honestly, thinking about it. Because if you have a bunch of far-right zealots and Christo-fascists who are, like, stopping people and, like, setting up, like, border stops and shit. Oh, fuck, there's a fat spider up there. Oh, that's a fat fuck. But it's just like, I mean, setting this shit up, dude, there's going to be some people who are going to be pretty militant about, you know, telling them to step the fuck off. Like, no. Like, it's none of your goddamn business. You backed away from my fucking car, or I'm gonna, you know, use force. Fuck off type of shit. Like, frankly, that shit might honestly... that shit's just gonna start happening, honestly. Like, I just don't see it not happening. Like, there's definitely gonna be some instances, and, you know, we're gonna hear on some news stories and shit in these states where that especially have these bounty hunter laws, essentially, where it's just like, yeah, we're gonna... Oh my God, now you're fucking upside down, crawling on the ceiling. Oh, Jesus Christ, what are you fucking doing, you bastard? But, I mean, I don't know. Like, I hoped, you know, it doesn't end up being that way, but I just feel like, you know, we will start seeing this type of shit from these states. Just because I know how, like, some of these far-right like, I mean, being in Oregon, you think there wouldn't be a lot of these type of people, but guess what? They exist. And actually, the Republican nominee for Senate against Ron Wyden happens to be a QAnon MAGA fucking psycho. and at least for her, like, she basically literally has like 0.1% chance of even getting close to winning, because Ron Wyden, especially in a state like this, is pretty, like, heavily favored. So, yeah, go figure. Well, but, I mean, it kind of proves the point, though, because she used to be, I think, the mayor for Happy Valley. And Happy Valley is kind of a conservative area. And also, like, my county is pretty conservative as fuck. Like, there's a lot of things about here that aren't just conservative as fuck, but have, you know, definitely, like, pockets of straight up fucking, like, either fascists or Nazis and shit. Like, I've seen them fucking patrolling up and down my goddamn neighborhoods before, so they are around here. Well, most of them don't live here, but they like to, you know, patrol around here thinking they own the fucking place.
Now, I've stated this time and again, and it seems like conservatives who hear that don't care, and you need to look at their ambivalence, look at their lack of concern for these women, and you need to remember that, because they're telling you who they are. They're not pro-life. They couldn't care less about life. They are forcing these women, in some cases, to die, all so they can protect a fetus. They are truly insane. Now, he said that he's doing this because he represents Oklahomans. Now, what I love is that the Fox host, to her credit, never get to say that about Fox anchors, but she actually cited a poll.
I do find it weird. I was like, is this CNN? And I looked in the corner. I was like, yeah, I didn't really mention anything about it, but I was like, it's fucking Fox. What the fuck? Like, I was honestly kind of like, what the fuck a little bit. It's like, Fox News is actually being reasonable about abortion right now. It's like, what the fuck? Definitely odd.
And then his response was, oh, well, I totally disagree with those numbers. You totally disagree with those numbers. Okay, facts don't care about your feelings, Snowflake. Anecdotes to suggest that
Seriously.
people don't want abortion to be legal, and, you know, you surround yourself by enough pro-choice people that I'm assuming that your perception of reality has...
Maybe just too optimistic, but I hope this won't end the way they want to. They want a bunch of people to be born to say it's going to end up happening in a total abortion ban scenario, by the way. So these people born in Seoul are going to pull some French Revolution type shit. If only this way we could have prevented this. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I already kind of seen it like that. Honestly, because just frankly, like, there's already a lot of young people as it is that kind of feel this way and shit. Are you trying to get comfortable? I mean, fuck, at least when it comes to that type of fervor, I mean, I'm feeling it. I mean, shit, like, it's just been definitely a growing feeling for quite a while. Like, I mean, hell, I kind of remember, actually last night before I got off work and shit, I was, talking just one to PICs really quick. But before I did, I was, kind of eavesdropping on, another conversation I was having with, one night crew. And, they were basically talking about how, like, when it comes to electoralism and voting, it just doesn't fucking mean shit, and, you know, mainly because, you know, of how they have the, you know, established, you know, a system rigged up the way it is, and with things like the Electoral College and shit. And these are young dudes, too, you know, about, you know, one of them's actually, he looks like he's fucking 30, but, because he has this insane fucking beard, but he's actually younger than me. Like, he actually just recently turned 21. I was just like, dude, what the fuck? And you look like you're in, like, your late 20s, early 30s. Like, holy shit. It's like, dude, what genes do you have that made you just, like... I mean, he doesn't let it go, but if he did, you know, it would go insane so big and so quick. But, yeah, I mean, you know, it's just like, even these, you know, type of people, like, they're definitely, you know, feeling it and shit. Especially in a country that's definitely pretty heavily, like, gun-toady and shit. I mean, wait, where else better? Oh, I see it, okay. It's in a spot where I can stop giving a fuck about it. But, at least when it comes to, like, you know, the mentality and sentiment around it, even though it literally fluctuates depending on how many mass shootings are going on the news on any given point and shit, basically. I mean, it tends to fluctuate between, like, yeah, we should regulate at least somewhat to, like, maybe it's a good idea to actually have them. It just seems like it fluctuates a little bit from that. Because at least I know a lot of people on the left that seem to kind of go back and forth on it a little bit. I mean, not necessarily, like, change their views overall, but, you know, just, you know, depending on the circumstances, they'll either be more like, yeah, we should probably get guns, or be like, okay, we really need to address this issue about guns here. Like, because honestly, both I think are kind of important. That's why, at least for me, I have never really truly been in favor of, like, full-on things like bans and shit like that, but am very strongly in favor of very strict and strong accessibility laws and regulations when it comes to that type of shit. Because, yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, even one thing that me and my roommate were talking about last night is that, frankly, especially when it comes to just buying a firearm, like, it should just be 21 and up. Like, if you can't buy beer until you're 21, then it should be the same thing for a gun of any type. I mean, if you're, like, 18 and you got, like, your pops that you want to go hunting with or some shit, I mean, I can, like, see, you know, the pops, you know, like, buying one for you or some shit, but it's under his name, and then you two will go out there because you'll at least be under supervision type of shit. But just having it as, like, yeah, it's just mine and mine own and whatever the fuck, and I bought it, it's like, and you're 18, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like, especially considering how our laws are with background checks and shit like that, I mean, it just seems like it's way too easy. There's not enough, when it comes to checking things like social media and things like Facebook and shit like that. At the very minimal, if, like, the person that's, trying to get one has a Twitter or Facebook, then at least those should be checked. At the very minimal. Because there can definitely be a lot of telltale signs, given what people post or, what they follow or what they like, potentially. Not always, but it could be. And at the very minimal, at least if there is something that pops up, having a little interview and questioning about it or something like that, and if it ends up being a true, legit, like, okay, this is a red flag type of thing, then fucking, then, yeah, guess what? You don't get it. I mean, if anything, at that rate, there should be, like, here's, like, some resources, because you got, like, some mental, thing, do you have access to some resources or some shit? Or it's like, hey, history, domestic abuse and shit. Here's, like, a resource to help you with anger management or something, Instead of just a simple turn down and get the fuck out store, basically. Are you going to commit a mass shooting? No. Here's 6 handguns, an Uzi, and a Kevlar vest. Why not? And why not? Some grenades. Yeah, why not some grenades? Yeah, seriously. Well, actually, technically it is legal. You just can't buy lethal grenades, like fragmentation grenades and shit like that. Civilians can buy smoke grenades and, like, flashbangs and shit like that. Like, civilians actually very much can have, grenades. They just have to be, like, utility grenades, basically. Your secondary grenade slot, if you will, for the gamer bros. What about that baby? Well, that's a lie to the fucking said. Even for me, I think there should be a very strong line in the sand for certain shit. I mean, do you really need an M2 Browning fucking 50 caliber machine gun? No, not really. I don't necessarily mind, certain firing ranges having those to rent out and shoot if you want to. And actually, plenty of firing ranges do. But, honestly, all in all, it's just like, if you want to, like, shoot some big boom booms and shit like that, then, I'm okay with firing ranges, having those available to rent out to people if they want to use them. It's like, yeah, I want to try your, M2 Browning or some shit. It's like, alright, well, here, you can rent it for an hour, and it's over there. We'll have, a guy run it down with you, and, supervise you, and blah, 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 it's simple as that. My grenades are for protection. Well, that's why civilians can have things like flashbangs, sound grenades, fucking smoke grenades and stuff like that. Just because, well, I mean, you could use those to protect yourself. Someone's intruding in your home, smoke grenade. Because now they can't see shit and they don't see you coming. Well, at the same time, I guess you won't see shit either. But the other person will be like, man, where the fuck am I now? I can't see shit. And at least you know the layout of your home, so you'll just be like, alright, this is my hallway right here. Alright, this is my hallway. Okay, cool. I'm hearing this guy yell in this room. Okay, he's in this room. And just tackle him. I mean, not all grenades have to be lethal. Because I know technically civilians can also get, like, the 40mm grenade launchers, too. And there's certain ones that you can use for that as well. And I think also there's, like, pepper gas grenades, too. Not, like, full-on, like, tear gas or CS gas and shit, but just basically smoke with a lot of pepper in it. So it essentially does the same shit. So pretty much, agonizing pain, coughing, water, like watery eyes, and just agony. So either way, same result. Which frankly, it's just like, why don't we just use that? At least then it doesn't, like, give you long-term health issues outside of just, like, very strong irritability of, like, paprika spice or some shit. At least in my mind, it'd make more sense. I suppose maybe people could be allergic. The people get peppers, you know. Yeah, see, no, yeah. It makes sense. I mean, if it legit deadass achieves, like, the same shit, then it's like, what's with the chemicals? Fuck you. Fuck you and your chemicals, bitch. It is just beyond backwards that tear gas, a chemical gas like that, is totally okay for, you know, dispersing civilians and shit like that, but is totally a war crime in military operations. Or during times of war and shit. It's just like, huh. Why isn't it across the board? Why isn't it a war crime even if cops do it? You know, actually, speaking of cops, I should want to pull this little bad boy up. Saw this puppy before work.
Police response is never swift. It's because cops don't have to be swift. They can get away with murder in the wrong places, and they can get away with not doing the murder in the place where they're expected to. The main point in that is that they can get away with it. There's no accountability because there is an attitude that cops are actually throwing their bodies at the problem in instances like Uvalde. Because people genuinely believe, by way of media portrayal, because the media absolutely plays a significant role in, like, defending cops, no matter how incompetent they are, local news especially.
Usually.
People have this attitude that cops are literally rushing to take down shooters and throwing their bodies at the problem. Not to take away from the situation or look ahead too doomily, but this man is going to set an awful precedent for cops to jump to when they're too quick to kill someone in the future as well. Completely predictable and broken system. Exactly. There's the other side of that too. Now cops are going to be even fucking more brutal. And be like, well, what? You wanted us to be fucking brutal. You wanted us to be brutal. You wanted us to be swift. Here, we're being swift. And they're going to continue murdering the wrong.
Oh my god, yeah. You know, I didn't even necessarily think about that, but yeah, it's kind of true. It's like, hey, why weren't the cops more quick and less cowardly and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, especially in the times when they're already being macho, aggressive, hyper fucks, as it is, like, they're essentially are going to even be more so. And even in just regular ass things like traffic stops and shit like that, or minor offensive type of things that they respond to, like, they're just going to be a lot more aggressive about it now, too. Which just feels in more to the fucking abuses and the corruption that they already got going on. So I guess in a way that, you know, seeing that shit just get blared out even more and more and more, thus, you know, more people just starting to hate them even further. I mean, at this rate, you know, those city cops are brave when the suspect isn't also carrying a weapon. Yeah, aren't they supposed to be brave when the suspect is carrying a weapon and actually, like, killing people? Because, you know, unless we forget, you know, there's, like, people like Philando Castile who had a gun, but were actually being responsible about it, and, like, hey, you know, I have a firearm, it's next to my wallet, just want to let you know I'm... Just got blasted. It's just like, oh, you mentioned gun, black guy, fuck, boom, 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 you know, you're dead, son. And their kid was in the back seat, if I remember correctly, too, so could have easily been shot as well. Luckily, they weren't, but, you know, now I have to live with the entire fucking trauma of watching her dad die, basically, so, yeah, that's great. And he legit, and the dude basically was dead ass, like, pretty much like a pillar for the community in a lot of ways. I think he was like a coach or some shit, but either way, it's just like, even when there's a dude who's a weapon, but that is literally not a threat at all, and if anything, it's just another law-abiding citizen, it's just like, oh shit, If you're black, I ain't just gonna sit there and just do this. I'm just gonna just blat you. It's like, good fucking lord. Because honestly, my friend, Harley, who's popped in on his streams a bunch of times before, there's been times where, you know, he'll have it like just a knife on his side, you know, just holstered and all that shit. And there's been times where there will be a bunch of cops that will be like drawn on him. And it's like, you go for that fucking knife or do anything with that shit, we're just gonna shoot you, you know, type of shit. And, you know, and he's a white guy, and the cops, you know, treat him like that and shit, because I guess, you know, he's had a past history of him, but also is a very poor, you know, underclass, you know, peasant type, you know, of, you know, profile when it comes to what, you know, cops kind of look after of, you know, people to target. He doesn't fit the minority criteria, but he fits everything else. So, you know, that's all they need, basically. They need at least enough of a criteria to fuck a few. In black, just that is enough of a criteria. I mean, some, it only requires one, you know, but if you don't, then if you at least fit other metrics enough, then it's like, yep, alright, you fit the criteria enough. And he's just one of those people that does. Even though it doesn't get into shit anymore, and it's not even, you know, like, doing crimes or fucking, or just anything. Like, if anything, it's just trying to put that shit in his past now. It's just like, even then, I mean, he'll still get fucked with by the pigs. Black guy's about to sneeze. You saw that, right? I had to use lethal force. He was about to assault me with his microbacteria in his lungs. He was going to infect us with biological chemical warfare. He was a biological terrorist, I tell you. Doing biological warfare, man.
Over again. I'm pretty sure there's a legal precedent that states that they are not required to act, not required to help, not legally liable if they choose to do nothing. Oh, of course. No, I know. There was, I believe, a 2005 Supreme Court decision that dictated that cops don't actually have to fucking, they're not legally liable and are legally required to act in a situation that puts their life at risk, okay? And then even, yeah, here it is, 2005, June 28th, 2005. Justices rule that the police do not have a constitutional duty to protect someone. The decision, with an opinion by Justice Anthony Scalia and dissents from Justices John Paul Stevens and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, overturned a ruling by federal appeals court in Colorado. The appeals court had permitted a lawsuit to proceed against the...
Did I hear Ruth Bader Ginsburg? So Scalia, so 3 judges, Scalia, I forgot who the other dude was. What can I see? John Paul Stevens? And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Wait, were they the ones who opposed? Oh, I need to, be able to enhance this. Decision with the opinion. So looks like reading into that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was actually in favor of that. It's like, yeah, this is okay. Oh, but I hate how so many people actually like outright utterly venerate her, and it's just like she wasn't exactly that fucking special. She actually could have done far fucking more.
Failure of the police.
And if anything, could have done a lot of us a favor and retired early during her bond's tenure, but nope.
For help after her estranged husband violated a protective order by kidnapping their 3 young daughters, whom he eventually killed. For hours on the night of June 22nd, 1999, Jessica Gonzalez tried to get the Castle Rock police to find and arrest their estranged husband, Simon Gonzalez, who was under a court order to stay 100 yards away from the house. He had taken the children, ages 7, 9, and 10, as they played outside, and he later called his wife to tell her that he had the girls at an amusement park in Denver. Ms. Gonzalez conveyed the information to the police, but they failed to act before Mr. Gonzalez arrived at the police station hours later, firing a gun with the bodies of the girls in the back of his truck. The police killed him at the scene. The theory... Wow,
if only they could have went to that amusement park right away and actually caught him, and those girls would have definitely been, I don't know, alive. And to them, it just would have been like, oh, we saw Daddy for a day, and, we're at the amusement park, and then my mom came up, and, we went home after some other dudes took Dad away for some reason. You know, like, to them, they probably would have thought much of it, you know, at least in the initial moment. But no, the cops decided to just not do a fucking thing until the last second when he showed up, started shooting at their fucking station. It took the guy, waltzed it up, like, he could have went anywhere, but he went to the police station, and that's the reason why they actually acted, was because he started attacking them. Well after, The Supreme Court ruled, it's like, yeah, cops are, you know, legally able to do that. That's okay. I wonder why they don't actually protect or serve. And honestly, at this point, I actually, you know, totally see and at this rate fucking agree with the whole idea about the abolition of the police movement and shit. It's just like, it's not just as simple as defunding it. Like, if it's this fucking, like, affected and ingrained, you know, systemically and shit, it just needs to be a ground up thing. It needs to just be rebuilt from the entire ground up. Like, fundamentally. Like, there's no reforming this. Like, how do you reform this? Like, like how? If it's just like some Supreme Court ruling, then how in the fuck do you actually reform that? Unless the Supreme Court just happens to say otherwise. Which frankly goes into, you know, a more of a question about, like, how really viable is the Supreme Court, you know, as a justice for the fucking people, because they never really were that in the first place. But more than ever, they're really showing their fucking colors with that. Protect, serve the rich. Exactly. I mean, they were always, you know, at least police in this country literally started off as fucking slave catchers in the South. So, I mean, honestly, like, especially even with that metric, it's like, yeah, maybe we should, like, rebuild our police, you know, from the ground up entirely, and our law enforcement and broad from the ground up entirely, yeah. But more than ever, am I really starting to see that.
Held in the federal district court in Denver was that Colorado law had given her an enforceable right to protection by instructing the police on the court order that you shall arrest or issue a warrant for the arrest of a violator. She argued that the order gave her a property interest within the meaning of the 14th Amendment's due process guarantee, which prohibits the deprivation of property without due process. The district court and a panel of the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit dismissed the suit, but the full appeals court reinstated it, and the town appealed. The Supreme Court's precedents made the appellate ruling a challenging one for Ms. Gonzalez and her lawyers to sustain. They don't protect property? No, dude, that's not... No, they don't protect women, okay? It's not... They're trying to fucking... The cops are notoriously bad at enforcing temporary restraining orders. If you've ever gotten a temporary restraining order, if you've ever gotten, like, a sea of fucking death threats and had to at least, like, go talk to the cops about it, to a degree where you have to talk to the cops about it, they will straight up tell you, well, we can do a temporary restraining order, but one, you will be informing the other person, we will be informing the other person that you are, you know, getting a temporary restraining order against them, and in most circumstances that can actually agitate them further, and two, a lot of people falsely assume that a temporary restraining order actually means, like, there's a physical barrier. There is no physical barrier. This person can still come over. It's just a way to basically document it for the court cases in the inevitable fucking murder that happens to you. So, just remember that as well. I mean, this is a very real conversation.
Fuck Roman soldiers who catch thieves and chop off the hand because they serve the emperor. The noble. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, you're pretty much alright. Yeah, they very much have always been that way. But yeah, you know, whenever it comes to, like, you know, just your average run-of-the-mill, like, little town or village or, you know, commune or whatever the fuck, it seems like they all can self-enforce themselves in a lot of ways. Like, and honestly, you know, I can imagine if there's at least a general level of basis of comfortability and shit, for the most part, people could, you know, like, self-enforce and, you know, like, have, like, local communal enforcement and shit like that, but it wouldn't be, like, you know, this absolute, like, you know, rigid necessary thing, and if anything, it would just be seen as a way to just kind of keep the general peace in case, you know, someone decides to get a little rowdy or some shit.
I'm a detective. I'm not fucking pulling this shit out of my ass. They straight up, when I went and had a conversation with the police, like, many years ago, you know, when I first started getting death threats, and it wasn't like the fucking norm.
I mean, honestly, it's just like, I mean, there's, you know, a lot of different, mainly Scandinavian fucking countries in Europe and shit, you know, treat it like that, basically. I mean, there's, like, straight up, like, wall-less, fenceless, like, prisons in Finland and shit, where prisoners could actually kind of come and go as they please and shit. Mainly just because, like, there's, you know, such a low incentive to really actually legit try to escape, because actually living in prison is actually really not too bad, because at least it's just a, they're treating them like a human being, essentially. Like they have basic services and, you know, some basic, you know, amenities, you know, in their cells and shit like that. And they're not like these little weird concrete cubicles. They at least have like, I think 2 rooms, like a bathroom, just a general, like little small studio apartment size little room. But nonetheless, it's a little something something. So it's like there's not that much of a strong incentive. And you can at least, you know, go to town if, you know, you are working within like a program in the prison to like, you know, go into a specific trade. So it's like, you know, it's like you'll probably have something tracking you, but, you know, you can at least come and go as you please because of that type of shit. As long as you return back at a certain hour. So, I mean, it's like a lot of places, like in Finland and Scandinavia, Iceland, and a lot of these other areas, it's like they pretty much already have it like that at this rate. Just because, I mean, they actually provide a basic standard for their fucking people. So there's not an incentive to, you know, try to go steal something or fucking, you know, commit a, you know, crime of some sort or whatever the fuck. The worst they might have to deal with is, you know, somebody getting a little too drunk at the bar and they have to go sit in the drunk tank overnight, and in the morning, once they have their hangover, it's like, alright, go back home, buddy. Go pick up your car at the bar and grab a coffee or something there, chump.
My man was like freaking the fuck out and was like, you have to go talk to the cops right now. They basically told me to buy a gun and also defend myself if something were to happen. So, good video about that court case, how judges apply it to other cases where cops did not act. Oh yeah, Crack did a video on this as well. Here, let's watch.
If you've ever been on the internet, I mean, you're here right now, you probably wound up in the comments section of at least one article about a mass shooting, some other kind of killing spree, and some dozens of assholes make comments like,
dude, if I was there, I would have totally stopped that guy. I totally know Kung Fu, and I just, like, knock the weapon out of his hand and then break his neck with a spin kick, and then my mom would finally love me.
My name's Joe Lazito, and one day in 2011,
Lazito.
my morning commute was interrupted by the tail end of a 28-hour-long stabbing spree. The reason that spree ended is because I stopped it, and I learned...
Roguely 7 days kinda sucks.
Maxim Gelman was already famous across the city. I didn't know any of that, though, because I'd gotten up too early to catch the paper. So when an obviously high person staggered crazily into the train, I just kind of figured morning in New York, you know? That creepy guy, who I'd later learn was Gelman, started banging on the door of the engineer's compartment. Let me in. I was sitting right by the door. The only thing separating the engineer and myself was a wall. It turned out there were 2 cops on the other side of the door, lying in wait in case Gelman hopped on this train. I found out later they'd recognized him, but they didn't charge out to stop him. Instead, they asked him a polite question.
Who are you?
I'm the police.
You're not the police.
You'd expect 2 armed cops to, I don't know, maybe do something about a wanted fugitive spree killer that they were on the...
That's crazy, dude. What?
Yeah, they literally should be like, alright, I got the cuffs, you open that door, and I'll tackle him, and you grab the cuffs, and we fucking, you know, or it's like, you get the cuffs, open the door, and I'll tackle him, and you cuff him. You know, it's like, they would have like a little game plan if he's trying to go through, and they're on the other side. Dude, if I was one of those cops, I'd literally be like, alright, here's the game plan. I got the cuffs, I open the door, I step back, you tackle him, I come in for the cuffing. Boom. There you go. Like, got him. Like, that stabbing spree would be done. Like, I mean, right, like, they're, and, you know, so the dude, like, this, Joe Lazito, I think, like, I mean, he wouldn't have to, this video would literally never be made if, you know, the cops just literally did that. Like, I already see a solution to this issue right here, and that's it right there. Like, especially if it's 2 of them, easy. Like, the vests, you know, cops wear and shit, at minimal, they're stab-proof vests.
No way, dude. What? That's crazy. Hey, this was how many years ago?
I don't think this nobility shit really started until the 90s and shit. You could do no wrong, he serves the king, those men could do no wrong, they're officers of the law, the lines between us and chaos. Yeah, because the whole idea of chivalry in, like, you know, really did kind of came around with the whole idea of knighthood, because at that point there was, like, some, you know, at least in some societies, like, an element of, like, you know, I'll be the higher man and not slay you this time, you know, type of shit. Where it's like, I'll have some chivalry. You might have been a petty thief stealing blood, but I shall not slay you for now. You only get 1 night in the cell, you peasant. I'm feeling a little chivalrous. You know, it's like, I mean, that shit didn't really, like, you know, come in until around that time. And even then, it just kind of depended on, like, just the person and, you know, the culture of the society at the time as well. You dispute who should do that can come be so friendly game of rock, paper, scissors. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Hey, the fucking
just a friendly game.
MTA police have changed their attitude, right? I mean, you see so many fucking videos of them beating the absolute living shit out of random black teenagers who are fair.
From school taught me to remember all that novel. The idea only really came out of it being romanticized. Well, yeah, hence why, you know, saying it's more selective and shit. Because it only really came down to, like, only certain people that really acted that way, more so, hence why it got romanticized for the most part, because it usually comes from highlighting or finding, you know, a couple people that were kind of like that, and basically, like, saying, hey, you know, they're worse, you know, yes, and it's just like, yeah, but guess what, exception to the rules, and even then, they're not even really highlighted in history anyway, they're kind of subdued. So it's like you have to kind of actively seek out, you know, who those people may be. And even then, they're very few and far between at the time. I mean, it really came in more to play probably more so around, like, the 1800s or, like, you know, 1900s and shit, because at least I know when it came to, like, World War I during, like, dogfighting and shit, when aircraft and, you know, and fighter planes and shit were really becoming a common thing. There was actually this, like, code of conduct between pilots and shit, and it was actually kind of frowned upon to break out of that little, like, universal rule, because there wasn't actually, like, rules of engagement type of, you know, fucking, you know, shit. Like, it was, like, it was just pretty much, you know, we all kind of have this generalized agreed view and shit, where it's like, you know, we aren't, you know, actively literally trying to slaughter each other type of shit. It's more of, like, a duel. But I mean, honestly, a lot of it did came because of the romanticization of it. So if anything, the chivalrous part came from it just because of a lot of the romanticizations, finding a couple exceptions in history and just making, you know, highlight noble stories and tales out of them and shit. Not all nice. Sure, there was a nice bird down that village, but, you know, it was just a few bad apples. Those knights, you know, could have stopped that peasant woman from being endlessly raped by a bag of brigands. But, well, you know, they had other business to attend to. They were going on to an investigation about the murder within the realm. Besides, they were doing that last night to her anyway.
But how young they are.
That's actually was probably true back in the day, honestly. Like, fuck. Like, yeah. Oh, the drunken gods, you know, on their day off decided, you know, get out a brigand woman, and then fucking a band of fucking, like, highwaymen or some shit fucking, you know, the next day show up, and they're, like, you know, happen to be around the corner, but they're literally doing some other shit, so they're like, oh, I hear those screams. Yes, I recognize this one last night a little bit. Yeah, just don't worry about that. My god, you know that actually happened. Ugh. Same shit, different uniforms and weapons, basically.
They're really, really much, much better at, like, defending people, right? Oh, wait, there was...
I mean, that's why life back in the day, honestly, as much as, like, a lot of Amprims try to, you know, highlight a lot of, you know, probably legit more, you know, positive elements, at least when it comes to environmental aspects of shit, like, society-wise, I mean, we've definitely kind of come a long fucking way. Let's just put it that way, at least. And even then, we still have a long way to go still.
That failed!
Amprim. Yeah. I mean, not, well, I guess not entirely, but, I mean, if you think about it, if, you know, in like an Amprim type of society, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have, you know, like a full-on, you know, sense of, like, a modern societal, like, sense of norms. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, outside of anarcho-primitivism, I figured you would know a little bit, you know, from listening to Paul on Deep Fat Friday a little bit, but, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. I mean, a good person to probably look into about outside of him is, you know, Derek Jensen. Well, I guess Paul also talks a lot about him as well. Well, not too much anymore, but he's a anarcho-primitivist, and radical environmentalist. I mean, a lot of anarcho-primitivism is more about, like, going back to a lot of, like, you know, the hunter-gatherer stage of things more so than just, like, early, you know, forms of civilized, you know, societal culture and shit. So having, like, little villages and stuff like that would only really be seen as kind of a stopgap, more so as, like, you know, a permanent thing.
Auction of fucking aiming. Like,
but I mean, honestly, even then though, it would be kind of hard to, like, you know, enforce, you know, a sense of, like, thing of law though, you know. So that's, I mean, that's kind of what I was really getting at. It's just like, how would you be able to, like, kind of enforce law if, like, you know, some random outsiders come out of nowhere and, you know, pick a few people up and drop them back off and shit, and, you know, and so on and so forth. Unless you just had a very, you know, rigorous, you know, nightly, like, watch system or something.
Like,
if you have enough
I don't even
people.
know when it happened. But yeah, remember when that fucking happened and the cops couldn't find the guy and the guy basically turned himself in?
Anyway, we were getting a little far afield though.
After another fucking shopkeeper actually figured out who the fuck the guy was, and then the cops didn't even give that shopkeeper, who was like a Syrian immigrant, money, the $50,000 that they were supposed to give him. Just incredible competence, boys. Incredible competence. There is 2 groups of individuals in this fucking dogshit country that routinely get promoted, celebrated,
No more
venerated.
just artificial shit. We need to affordable, free, preferably clean food that tastes just good, if not better, and is healthy. Yeah. Like, especially when it comes to, like, food and shit like that, yeah. I mean, because there are natural preservatives and shit like that that, you know, we can use. So it's not like, you know, we need weird artificial preservatives and shit. I mean, you know, so yeah, like, when it comes to, at least especially when it comes to food and agriculture, like, this artificial shit just needs to go. I back blue with my boot. Guess where I'm putting it? Up their ass. On their neck. Up their ass. On their face. So they're licking yours? I don't know. Probably a combination of the 3.
Like, okay, there's 2 groups of people in this country that can
Yes.
just...
Oh. Well, yes to the combination of all 3. I'm just going to say, yeah, I'm assuming
their
that.
job. Politicians and fucking cops. Maybe politicians don't get venerated, but cops get celebrated and venerated too. On top of that, like, they're treated as like a fucking heroic, brave warriors.
Trained specifically to arrest, but they stayed put. So Gelman walked up to me, whipped out an 8-inch knife, and told me, "You're going to die." Then he stabbed me. I was in the sort of situation every man thinks about at least twice a day. Suddenly thrust into a life-or-death situation that required me to become a badass.
Hey!
Fortunately, I had no badass training.
Hey! 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 Dude! Zukov! 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 Oi! Are you serious? Oh my god. Hey! Zukov! Dude! Bro! Dude, hey, Zukov! Zukov! Get over here! Get over here! Hey! Bruh. Shut up. Bro. Bro. Bruh. Bleh. Bruh. Are you done? Are you done? Oh my god. Now I'm gonna go back a little bit. Jesus, dog.
About at least twice a day. Suddenly thrust into a life-or-death situation that required me to become a badass. Unfortunately, I had no badass training. but I have watched a lot of MMA, and when he brought back his arm to stab me again, I decided to dive in for a single leg takedown. It should have looked like this. But in reality, I shot in too high and wound up tackling him by the waist, rather than getting him in the leg. So he stabbed me repeatedly in the skull. The good news for you armchair badasses is that you can have no idea what you're doing but still succeed on dumb luck and balls. I outweigh Gelman by a lot, so he went down despite the power of a knife on his side. So we're both on the ground, I'm on top, and he's still got his stabbing machine in hand. I tried to grab his right hand, which held the knife, with my left, but I missed, and he sliced me good in the thumb. I tried to catch him a second time and failed, so he slashed me again in my left tricep. Woo! My third grab was a charm, though. I caught his hand and slammed it into the ground.
Bro, that right there is just straight up adrenaline, by the way.
That actually is. Like, at a certain point, you know, once something hits you, like, adrenaline's in, and it's like fight, flight mode, action, baby type of shit.
Reason why, when you get
I've been in that mode.
You literally don't feel it for a very long time. It's dope. It's fire. If you've ever actually
It's like, yeah, hey, if you got adrenaline going on in you, baby, yeah, getting shot, yeah, guess what? It's pretty dope. It's pretty fire, bro. It's just like... I mean, I guess not feeling it is a good thing, but no, I would not say that is dope nor fire. That's probably bad.
If you've ever actually been in like a fight or anything like that, adrenaline is OP. It's goated. It's great.
He dropped the knife. Once I had him pinned, it was, dying of blood loss. The cops decided it was safe enough to arrest Gelman. Next thing I remember is a cop tapping me on the shoulder. You can get up now, we got him. I thought that was being charitable, but at the time I didn't exactly feel argumentative. There was no pain yet, just this warm feeling from the blood gushing out of me. It was like standing in the shower with warm water spraying the top of your head and flowing down the back of your neck. And again, when you'd expect the police to jump to my aid...
PSA kids, don't get shot. Get shots from a doctor because you need them, but not the gun kind. Hey, that's a good PSA.
Even touched me. The only guy to render aid was another passenger, Alfred Douglas, aka Napkin Man, because
Napkin
he stanched
Man.
my bleeding injuries with napkins.
I like how he just looks like, some good old, working class hero type of looking dude. He's like, I'm a man who's a construction worker, and I'm going to save this man.
Probably saved my life, but at this point I'd been stabbed roughly all the times a person can be stabbed while remaining conscious. And so I passed out. When I eventually came to in the hospital, it was kind of frustrating to realize that none of the early coverage mentioned me or Napkin Man.
Damn.
Wait, hold on,
The police gave all the credit to the two officers who'd been in the subway train with me, only neither of them actually even left the booth until I disarmed Gelman. During the grand jury hearing, one of the cops testified, I started to come out, I opened the door, but I thought Gelman had a gun, so I closed the door and stayed inside. I can see how in a stressful situation you might mistake a knife for a gun. But also, that kind of makes it more infuriating. If you, Mr. Cop A...
That's crazy. How crazy, boys. Look at that. How similar of a situation is that, dude? Does this guy understand that nobody cares about his stupid opinion?
Oh shit, I got a gun, tear gas, fucking pretty much the equivalent of essentially having a military grade kit outside the actual fucking assault rifle on me at pretty much all times. But yeah, I'm scared of a guy with a gun or a knife. There. Oh, what's the black guy? Is there a black guy that just happens to exist somewhere in a 20-yard radius from me? I gotta make sure I sniff that one out. What's going on with that one? Oh, is he doing something bad? We got him, boys.
Dude, I love this. I love random guy who waited in here long enough so that he could have enough points to fucking highlight.
Wait. I want to see this. I kind of want to see this. What does this say? Does this guy understand that nobody cares about his stupid opinion? Oh my god. Wait, so he waited to have a little highlight on the Twitch thingamabop or whatever the fuck, just to say that, and just immediate ban.
His comment, first take, immediately banned. That's awesome, dude. That's great. Okay, anyway,
Damn. Wrecked.
No, this is, I guess not too far from what happens all the time. Oh my god, that's crazy. But Hassan, you don't hear about the times the cops are being heroes. Dude, that is expected, okay? That is the job, brother.
Honestly, yeah, and the fact that honestly it takes like a news article to pretty much highlight the very rare exceptions that actually does happen is, you know, should be kind of a little bit of a red flag. It's like, hey, it's expected that cops basically actually do the things, these rare articles to be like, cops actually do good thing. They helped out a little kid with thing or something like that, or, you know, they helped out a parent, you know, instead of like, you know, arresting them for trying to steal baby food or some shit like that for the kid, they help pay for it or something like that. It's like, I mean, basically what a cop's job is probably meant to do. Okay, maybe a cop doesn't necessarily have to pay for like someone else's food if they're trying to steal for their kid, but like, at least, you know, provide, you know, resources so they can pay for that shit. Be like, here, let's hook you up real quick, you know, and it's just like, we'll figure out a little exception here for now, but, you know, like, we'll try to hook you up. And if you keep doing this, then obviously then there will be some criminal issue type of shit. So, I don't want to hear about it again, but here's some resources for you. It'd be like if people treat you like royalty if you're coming into work 1/4 of the time. Yeah, seriously. Not even 1/4 of the time, but like 0.1% of the time. It's like you show up to work, like, one day, work, like, you know, 30 minutes, you know, do a few things, and then you just, like, leave. Which, actually, there has been times where some people in the morning crew will actually do that at my work. They'll show up, work, like, an hour or two, and then just leave. Because they did, like, their stocking shit and, like, you know, pre-packaged type of stuff, and they're like, alright, I'm done, bye. It's like, what the fuck? No, you're not. It's like, it's like, what? It's like, what are you doing? But, no, some people just will do that, and it's like, what the fuck? So, no, like, I mean, yeah, there are people that are actually like that, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna fucking be treating them like royalty, I'm just, at the very minimal, I'm treating them like an equal. I may have been waiting for 2 hours for a bad sandwich, but maybe they've been having a bad day. I mean, it's not like, you know, someone won't be able to help them, like, all of us are able to, like, work the sandwich bar and shit, but, like, I mean, like, our morning sandwich person is actually, funny enough, the one I was talking about, and, you know, and she just, for some reason, will do things like that. I mean, she's kind of, I mean, when she actually is there, she does her job and well, but she's just a very interesting, quirky character, and a pathological liar, too, but nonetheless, I mean, she does get her job done, but there's so many different things that she'll take credit for that she obviously didn't do, or she will literally, you know, you will literally see other people doing something, and she'll be like, oh, sweetie, look what I did, and it's like, you literally didn't do that, you were like over there, you know, doing some sandwiches for a person, while this person over here was doing that, and it's just like, we know you didn't do that. It's like, why, what are you saying, what are you talking about? I mean, so, she's a very, very quirky character. But, again, I mean, she does get her job done for what she does do. So, you know, we just put up, we just gotta deal with it, you know? I mean, you know, so it's not like it's a fundamental problem, but it's just a little, you know, just quirky. And our other service person is still kind of new. And this is also his first job. He's like really meticulous. So he's, you know, he doesn't really get as, you know, things out in, you know, in a timely fashion in comparison to other people. So it's like, I mean, he does it good, but it's just like, you know, hopefully he kind of gets the hang of it more, so he can kind of start, you know, speeding up a little bit, so he can be able to, you know, do other stuff too. Because I've noticed some days when he's doing mornings, you know, and shit, it's like, I notice there's some stuff that's end up kind of lacking, and it's like, god damn it, I have to pick up after a lot of shit. Because, you know, he also has to do sandwiches and other shit, but he basically will just mainly be do sandwiches, and it's like, there's a lot of other shit I'm gonna have to, like, start picking back up on, and it's kind of frustrating. But anyway, going a little far afield again here.
Not only is that, like, actually what you are supposed to do, and you still fail to do it regularly, you make it seem like you do it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, if you ask the average Norman who's, like, brain broken from, like, local news and, like, news in general and all the, like, stereotypes that you see about cops in the fucking news and shit, you would think that they're like literally the greatest heroes of all time. They're fucking our heroes. I only get down on fucking one knee, not for the national anthem, but to suck off a fucking brave boy in the blue. You know what I mean? That's how it's supposed to be, because there are brave heroes. Like, what the fuck?
Leasington thinks
Okay, hold on, I gotta turn.
this insane, drug-addled murderer has a gun, and he's sitting on a train bound for Times Square. Don't you want to stop him at all costs? So yeah, I decided to sue the NYPD. The first case I brought got dropped, so I acted as my own lawyer for the second case, and finally made it to a judge. The judge said,
Mr. Lozito's version of the story sounds highly credible, and his version of events rings true.
but I still lost the case. Here's how that was justified in its original legalese.
No direct promises of protection were made to Mr. Lozito, nor were there direct actions taken to protect Mr. Lozito prior to the attack. Therefore, a special duty did not exist.
It turns out there was a major piece of legal precedent in my way. In 2005, the Supreme Court ruled on Castle Rock v. Gonzalez. In that case, a woman sued the Castle Rock PD after they failed to respond when she complained that her estranged husband had violated a protective order and abducted their kids. He eventually murdered them. The Supreme Court ruled in the police department's favor. It turns out it's literally not their job to protect people. So to the internet badasses who are about to comment on this video and claim they totally nailed the takedown, you should make a note of a few things. First, my insurance had me in and out of the hospital in 2 days. And the hospital didn't give me any AIDS or hepatitis tests after I'd been stabbed with a knife that had stabbed other people. Apparently that's not medically necessary.
Even though it literally is, like, you should be tested for all sorts of fucking infections with that if you get stabbed with a fucking knife that's also stabbed a bunch of other people, let alone just you alone.
I get the chance to confront a dangerous armed...
Thank you, Matt Beats, for the fucking...
madman.
Cops in movies, Neo stopping bullets in midair, cops in real life, old woman put back in hand on forehead and fainting backwards.
Having your back. Don't expect to get the credit, and hope like hell there's another napkin man waiting in the wings to help you.
And low-key, the napkin man is kind of a working class hero a little bit, not even gonna lie. I kind of like how he's kind of portrayed like that a little bit. It's like, yeah, I'm just kind of a, construction working class type of fella. Oh shit, this man just got stabbed. I want to save his life. I don't need to see this happen today. Not on my watch, brother. It's just like, I like that. I kind of like that little nod. Suspect was assistant. He cleaned the knife beforehand. Oh yeah, he sanitizes the knife, each time before he stabs another victim. Yep.
Brilliant fucking video, dude. That was awesome.
That was that is a pretty legit video. Not even gonna lie. I liked it.
You when you're getting stabbed.
But yeah, but that's why I was watching a little bit before work today. I was just like, damn, this video is base as fuck. Because it really just honestly shows, like, for at least 17 years, it's pretty much literally not a cop's job to protect you. Like, it was the Supreme Court precedent ruling. So, yeah, another reason why the Supreme Court fucking sucks and probably shouldn't have the power that they do. Go figure. Oh, wow, I love this little headline. Trump has described the most recent U.S. school shooting as a savage or barbaric atrocity, but also criticizes those who call for stricter gun laws. What a fucking maroon. Didn't you do bump stock bans too, you dumb fuck? Which also literally did do anything. Obviously, as evidence shows. Alright, mass shootings will have less casualties if we put bump stock ban. Oh wait, that didn't work. Fuck! Like bastard bans. Oh shit, that also didn't work. Shit. It's like, yeah, because you're not hitting the fucking root of the issue, chief. But okay. I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm beating that horse dead into literal meat paste because, well, it's just been such a consistent fucking issue, but... I mean, shit, at this rate, pretty much at least, like, any more, pro-gun leaning type of dude that I know, at least at this rate, at least thinks they're really, truly, at least at this point, ought to be, some more stricter accessibility. And it's like, yeah. I mean, this is, this is why. Yeah. It's just so dumb we can't even get the most basic of just fucking shit, like, at all. It's always weird, just like quarter measure, half measure shit that just do really nothing more than piss off, you know, just average run-of-the-mill gun owners, whether they are kind of a little, like, amosexual about it or not. Because, like, I mean, I suppose a lot of people obviously don't give a fuck about the fifis and shit, and at the end of the day, I really don't either, but it's like, I mean, yeah, it's a little frustrating, because, like, we're still not tackling the root. I mean, at least for me, that's why I'd be pissed, like, because this doesn't solve the issue. Like, I mean, at least when it comes to firearm purchases, at least for a start, at the very, like, barest of minimal, is to at least have more rigidified background checks and make gun purchases legal for 21 and over. Just period, flat. You know, it's just like, and make that a federal standard, and no state can get around that. So, I mean, there needs to at least be that. Because, you know, knowing, especially when it comes to the school shooting aspect of the shit, they're pretty much always, you know, within the, like, 21 to 18 margin or younger. But man, if it was me on that train, we'll go on different. Oh yeah, with the train, dude. We'll go on different. See, I watched all those Legend of Ong and Legend of Korra. Now, I didn't have the earth or water, but my fire airbending would have fucked that guy up. Oh, 100%, bro. See, I just would have been John Rambo, and I just would have, you know, whipped up my, you know, fucking 2 6-shooters out of nowhere, just be like, son, it's time to duel. Move 10 pages back, let's go. And you'll have to fucking throw that, you know, thing and try to chuck it at me, and I'll just go blah, 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 you know, just, you know, go down, you know, just, you know, gunslinger style, you know, just like having no qualm or care about, you know, any other people and, you know, in the vicinity. Just, you know, blatting bullets, you know, just down range and stuff, you know, I just, you know, that's right, take it down like John Wayne. This is like, Jesus Christ. I mean, even I, as a gun dude, don't think about this, like, at least on any actual serious metric. Like, I guess that's, like, a kind of a fun little, like, daydream, sure, but, like, as a legitimate, like, serious, like, do I actually see myself in a situation? And when I do, I practically think about it. I'm like, okay, unless it's, like, literally, like, just me and this other person, then, you know, I could probably see myself, but I'm not expecting to just win over that. Like, you know, likelihood there's going to be, you know, some serious, you know, consequence of drawbacks of me getting fucked up just as much as the other person. On top of that, I'd rather, you know, just de-escalate and seek safety. So if anything, I would try to avoid getting into a situation like that in the first place. Chunky Kai wasn't that what it was called in the show. As an aside, haven't you seen him? I do recommend it. Chunky Kai. Oh, Legend of Korra. I know a few of my friends. I know at least one of my friends has, at least, and he's talked pretty fondly of it. I think I've seen at least like clips of it on YouTube, but I don't think I've actually. I don't know. Here. I might have, like, you know, seen an episode or two here. Oh, what the fuck? It's actually on YouTube? Wow, there's actually a couple full episodes on YouTube. And oh my god, wow, there's some other person that, wow, 7.2 million views. The Legend of Korra is garbage, and here's why. Oof. Oof. Okay, I'm seeing a few memes. What went wrong? Question mark? Is it not actually, like, revered or some shit? I think that guy says everything is garbage. Oh wait, let me see. Lily and Michaela Orchid. These dudes. Or I guess these chicks. Or these people. I have never heard of this channel, so I literally don't know. But bum 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 bum. I just love how fat like it is on the thumbnail. It's like it's garbage. And it looks like there's a full episode, well, part 1 it looks like, but looks like there is like, you know, well, it looks like you have to pay for it, but it looks like there is actual like, you know, some seasons on it at least, so. I don't know. At least, you know, for one of my friends, when it comes to the anime he does watch, he always kind of is like to, you know, joke about weeaboos and, you know, and anime and shit like that. But he actually, like, he definitely actually legit watches anime. So, like, he'll watch, like, Attack on Titan. Beastars is another one I know he's watched. I know that one is one. Avatar Last Airbender is another. So, there's at least a few that he said I know he's definitely into. I think so. Basically, they take a show or whatever that's divisive and be like, this is garbage, here's why. So essentially just, you know, say why everything's shit and look at, like, you know, pretty much all the negatives and critiques, you know, to a thing and just maximize on that. Well, that's definitely one way to garner a lot of views and be like, alright, it was great controversy. Be contrarian. Say everything sucks. Nine out of 10 dentists recommend flossing. That 10th dentist must be on to something. Let's get him on the podcast. Oh my god. I love it. Oh my goodness. No one deny Legend Korra has issues, but I never call it garbage. I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, it's got issues and shit, but, I mean, whatever, you know, it's just like, it's a show. Like, if it's just, like, you know, like, it looked like a little mini-series, like, at least on YouTube, it looked like there was at least 4 seasons up. I actually don't know how long it actually lasted, but if it's, you know, for, you know, a decent amount of time, like 4 or 5 or some seasons or something like that, then, I mean, whatever. Doesn't have to be absolutely great. I just remember a lot of The Last Airbender. Like, I know that was the one I watched a lot growing up. Aww. Little sleepy head. Sleepy, sleepy, sleepy little boy. Here, I'm trying to see what other random things are here. Oh, I think I remember seeing a video on this here, right? So I think that I have, I think, 8 or 9 books left to go into the serial series. Luckily, I've managed to find a torrent of all the audio versions, but my goal is to finish the series before August. Honestly, one thing I really definitely need to do is get back into fucking reading Dune again. Because I never really went into like 1/8-ish, you know, into the first book so far, then kind of fell out of it for a second. But mainly just because of time, really more so than anything. I was still definitely very hella hooked to it, but just never really had much time to get back into it. But now at this point, my time is getting better manageable again, so it's just like, yeah, it's like, alright, I want to try to get back into that a little bit. Because I have it right here. I still have it, last bookmarked where I had it. Okay, honestly, thinking about it, yeah, it's not even really necessarily 1/8, but, you know, it's a pretty decent little start into it. I know it's, from what I remember part of the book, it's at least in that part where it's after, you know, the box and all that shit, and meeting Harkonnen and getting introduced to him as a character and shit, so... It's a lot of, you know, the initial introductory parts for at least the main protagonist and antagonist, so... I mean, you know, and honestly, at this point, since I know a lot about, you know, the lore in itself, I can kind of, you know, read through it a lot more quicker now, you know, from seeing both films now, and, you know, just at this point, I've kind of looked into the lore and all this other shit, too. Just being fixated on now. Which I guess, in a way, makes it a little bit easier to read the books. I think second only to the Bible, the Godfather series might be the longest audio book to listen to. The Godfather series? Oh, for like the books? Dune series is pretty long too, though. I know, I was just thinking, like, I have the whole collection of the entire Frank Herbert Dune. Like, I have all of his Dune books. And, some of them are smaller, but a lot of them are... just as thick as this, if not thicker. So, I think the second book is thicker than this. So, I mean, fuck, dude. And this is a pretty big book. Like, this right here in totality, here, there we go, is, not including these extra pages right here I'm skimming through right now. Whoa, Frank Herbert had a hella fucking cool beard. Dude, he has like a Marxian beard. 687 pages. Again, not including the spare pages, like all this other shit. Oh, whoa, he was born not far away from here. He was born in Tacoma, Washington. Went to University of Washington, Seattle. Oh. I did not know that. I didn't bother to read at the very back of the book quite yet, so I didn't know that was back there. You know what? Here, let me. Yeah. What am I doing? Why haven't? Yeah. Oh. I mean, it's in black and white, so you might not be able to see it well, but. Oh yeah, you actually can see it pretty good there. Look at that beard. It's a pretty dope beard. Not even gonna lie. That's a respectable beard. I figured, you know, a crazy, you know, cool, creative sci-fi, you know, guy like him, you know, would definitely have like a big beard like that. I notice all like the quirky scientists and very creative ones tend to have like, you know, well, I guess outside of a few, but like usually they always have some form of like, you know, interesting facial hair. Like Einstein, Herbert, Tyson, deGrasse Tyson does. Outside, there's like a couple exceptions, but I noticed that, you know, it seems to be kind of something that's a commonality. There's a pattern to it, I've noticed. Either that or like some crazy hair or some shit. They always got like something going on with like their hair or facial hair or something. If they don't got the facial hair, they usually got crazy hair. I have a real strong urge to like play Stellaris, or you know, I want to, you know, I want to see how much that like Doom game is right now on Steam. I could at least look it up on my mobile really quick, without having to run all over the house to grab my laptop and shit. Yeah, let me see that. Isn't it like $40 or something? The full release sometime in 2023, so sometime next year. On Steam. Oh, it's $30. Ooh, it's even cheaper than I thought. Fuck, I actually like... I want to get Age of Empires 2 because of nostalgia shit, but this is going to be, like, the next game right after that. Because that's only $20 right now. And this being only 30? Dude, hell yeah. Dude, I totally play as the fucking Fremen. Oh my god, I love how they have goddamn Baron Harkonnen, dude. Just a big blubbergumptious boy. He's blubbergumptious. Look, it's just blubbergumptious. Oh no! Come back, big boy. Man, they, like, I wish they, perceived, Baron Harkonnen just a little bit more blubbergumptious in the movie. Just a little bit more. Like, he didn't look too bad, but I wish they kind of, you know, incorporated some of the David Lynch aspects of it, and then just make him a little bit more, like, just a little extra. I just, like, my main critique about the Baron was just they didn't show him enough, really. Like, I was pretty content and alright with the way it looked. I just was like, oh. He just wasn't there that much. I think he was really literally there for probably, like, maximum a minute with the entire, like, film. And it's like, man, I really wanted to see more of them. Because there's plenty of scenes they could have easily, you know, incorporated with the Baron. Or made some of them even go longer. I mean, it's like, god damn it. You only really get, like, the very near end of the movie, you know, where you really kind of see some of his ambitions with, like, you know, the spice and some stuff. And even then, it's very vague. It's just like, what was it? It's like, you know, I forgot what it was specifically. It was basically like, we don't want to have the price of the spice drop too quickly. You know, don't sell all of it at once. I think it was that. It's like, don't sell all of the spice at once. We don't want the price of it to drop too quickly. It's like, okay, so obviously he has, like, ambitions economically, but that's really about as far as we get. It's like, obviously he has far more ambitions than that, but at least in the movie it never really tapped into that. Even though it could. Or at least could have. And Villeneuve, unfortunately, doesn't like doing director's cuts. Because there was a lot of cuts out of that movie. And I guarantee you some of them probably were some of these scenes I'm probably talking about. They probably did have them. But they just figured, oh, he's the antagonist, that'll be seen more in the second film. So, you know, we'll just have him, like, teased a little. Which I frankly, I guess, is not necessarily a bad move. It makes you all antsy and, you know, wanting to see the second one, because, yeah, I want to. Like, they definitely got me on that, so I guess my nitpicks end up, you know, becoming a way to tease me for the second film. Who was it? It was gonna play the Emperor Shaddam IV. Like, I remember seeing an article about that, like, the other day. Was it a fucking, here, I'm gonna look that up. I'm thinking about the dream Jordan Peterson shared in his book. Oh, well, don't, please do not bring that up right now. I showed my friend Venom that the other day because he didn't hear it yet. And I deadass was trying to, like, because I did. And actually, I couldn't even finish it. And I let him hear the entire thing. And I literally was doing this as hard as possible. And I, like, to the point where I couldn't hear anything. But I still could hear it. Like, I can, like, it was, like, you think it would be, like, muffled? It wasn't muffled. It was just quieter, but still distinct. It was just, it was like it was piercing perfectly through my, you know, my hands. It was just, it was like some sort of, like, spiritual evil that Jordan Peterson conducted there. Like, what Jordan Peterson just brought forth to the world right there was, like legit, like, some form of spiritual evil that even I didn't think could be possible. Like, it, like, I don't even know. It's like seeing crack in his mind, but there's only poison underneath. Yeah. And it's Christopher Walken is playing, yeah, in Dune. Okay. Let me get a good old look at him. Ooh, you know what? You know, I can see it. I see it. Oh, dude, you know. Ooh. You know, that seems like a pretty decent choice. I'm trying to think, you know, who, like, even though I obviously settled, I'm thinking, you know, who other people could have been. I mean, sad, but if Christopher Lee was still with us, holy fuck, Christopher Lee would make the most badass Emperor Shaddam IV. I mean, he already kind of, you know, has a ability to be like that because of Count Dooku and, you know, some of his other roles. So it's like he could easily just, like, you know, flex out as Emperor Shaddam. Man. Trying to think. I know, what's his face? Clint Eastwood. It'd be, I think, a more interesting choice just because it'd be more like a gruffer version of Emperor Shaddam. More of like a grizzled, but yet, you know, obviously, like, high established, you know, type and shit. Wait, what's this? Is that fat fuck on my turf again? Aw. Little kitty. Oh, sweet little kitty. Sweet little kitty. Sweet little kitty. And Zukov is just a sweet little boy. Yes, he is. And did I kind of see a TJ stream? I think I kind of saw a little squeeze of a notification, and I think there is. Look at this. Oh, there is. When did you do this, Change Eye? Oh. At least before midnight. How late am I to this? What are you doing here? 13 minutes?
You know,
3 minutes ago.
It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't like a perfect season of television, but it was compelling, and it kept me
Okay. What are you doing, Change Eye? What you doing here at this late hour?
Super well rated. Probably one of the best rated of the series, like 9.7.
Where's Bandito? I think he's outside.
And then that shit.
I'm gonna give us a like already just because it's TJ. Dude, TJ just looks like he should be like a Viking ready to go to war or something.
Ready for Pride Month. These are not really Pride colors. Maybe they are. I don't know.
They kind of look like it. They're definitely flamboyant colors.
Have like some oranges and some yellows and some blues, and there's some pink and some whites. I don't know.
I mean, those are some pretty flamboyant colors. I'm not even gonna lie. Look at those flamboyancies. Yeah.
If I was, but I'll never be. What up, TJ?
It looks like a flamboyant Viking right now.
What inspires your makeup? I don't know. I just kind of like...
Just plain weird. Ah!
I just kind of do what I want.
I'm not good. I know. I can't. I know. God. I refuse. Like, God. Okay. I want liquor right the fuck now. I want, like, some moonshine to forget that. God. Okay. No, I'm not... I want to try to save it. I actually want to try to save the image, but I can't look at it.
I just put some blue around my eye.
They're just glasses?
Oh, and then maybe some gold, and then I kind of like...
God! The traumatizing. I'm saving it really quick. I'm saving it really quick. That's disturbing. Uncanny. Disturbing. Fuck that.
This area done, but then it felt like too... Like the edges felt too fuzzy, so I wanted to give some lines. Like, give it like a definition.
Content warning, sir.
White line, pink line.
Of uncanny disturbingness. And what the... Okay, what other weird uncanniness is going on there? Jesus.
Show where the borders were.
I'm being attacked. I'm being attacked mentally.
By the Viking part. I don't know what I'm doing to be Viking. I mean, I guess the fact that...
It just is the beard, bro. It literally is just the beard. He doesn't know, but it's just the beard. Because I guess you kind of look like one.
You go out in public with makeup? No, I'm too. I don't like to draw attention to myself. I mean, I'm already 6'6" and very large, so I already draw attention for that reason. I'm not really looking to draw more attention to myself. I'm pretty. I try to be pretty low key in public situations. I have social anxiety, so I'm not really looking to be like a spectacle. Thoughts on Malcolm X? I like Malcolm X.
Based.
I bought his autobiography. I plan to read
I actually have one of his books.
I'm assuming it will, because it's going to teach me a lot of things I didn't know about him. But I don't know. I mean, I think
I haven't read it in a minute,
given
because I got it a while back.
his circumstances and all that, I think he.
I think it actually is his autobiography now I'm thinking about it.
Makes sense in the context.
Yeah, I think it actually just is, yeah. Now I'm thinking about
it. Is that trauma-induced bullying or natural personality? I think it's my natural personality, but it could be stuff from my youth. Now, I was never really bullied too heavily in high school. I was not. It wasn't like I was not bullied at all. There was occasionally some bullying here and there.
I think every kid kind of gets, some form of bullying in one way, shape, or form, unless they literally are just some crazy silver spoon,
I'm pretty
picture perfect kid.
I'm pretty tolerant of, people
that just literally the entire school loves, and even then, on the background, there's always backstabbing and skullduggery going on and shit, and drama and all this other garbage. So even then,
I don't get offended or upset or hurt.
Like every kid kind of gets the whole bullying thing at some point or another. Some people very more significantly than others, so.
And so, eventually, though, I snap, and I do, have an incident. And usually, once that happens, the bullying, would stop. But the thing about it is, though, while I was not very exactly bullied, there was a certain degree of ostracization. Much of it self-imposed, but a lot of it, I think, has to do with the fact that I spent a lot of my younger years being, significantly larger than my peers, and I think that.
Definitely more taller and larger nowadays, but
apart from everybody else,
at least for me, I actually was smaller. I didn't really grow up until my sophomore, junior year. Then I really had a major growth spurt.
Sort of a division, deviation.
I was kind of chunky a little bit, but not too much. But then I lost all that, became a scrawny, skinny fuck after I started start working after I got a job.
Nature. I'm also psychologically aberrant in some ways.
It's kind of interesting how, at least in in some ways, his upbringing is actually pretty similar to mine, considering the outcast and ostracization aspects of things. At least for me, way more so in late elementary school and middle school primarily. In high school, a lot of that just kind of delved away because people eventually kind of had their cliques. You had the metalhead clique, the goth clique, the anime clique, and jock bro cliques, and cheerleader cliques, and blah 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 blah.
I tend to condescend to people.
So at a certain point it went away because people just kind of tribalized in their own little groups, and if there was anything, it was more so clashes between said tribes. But I mean, if anything, also a lot of it ended up becoming because I actually also kind of solidified my friend group to what I have now at this point. Because by that point, one of my friends from middle school was friends with a bunch of other people that I happened to know from classes in my high school at the time. We all just eventually kind of started getting together because of just hey, since we all just in some way, shape, or form kind of half-assedly know each other, let's all just kind of get together and hang out and blah, 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 blah. And so, well, here we are. You know what I mean? It's
they opened
and honestly, just having a small, tiny little friend group like that really does go a long way. Even if it's only 2 people or just one other person or some shit.
I hope they're doing great. I mean, I'm doing great without them. So.
Definitely don't need to have a friend group of 50 people or 20 people or 100 or however many. So having like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, other friends and shit, you know, that's just kind of like a little inner circle.
There is a certain
So that's pretty much good enough right there.
you don't know the inherent worth of people.
I mean, at the end of the day, you only really need
I
one.
don't know if you're trying to say that I'm a poor judge of it, or what. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right.
I kind of want to click that really quick. Fuck. Yeah, I'm going to take this down really quick just so I can look at that.
Yeah, I'm not responsible for the
Speaking of my friends in my inner circle, there's my little group chat of them.
They're your problem now. Abrasive personality. Honestly, I'm a pretty, aside from the...
So wanted to learn because corrupt Supreme Court arbitrarily declared it.
I'm pretty agreeable in that I'm, polite. I hold doors open for people. I say please and thank you as a general rule.
Hold on, I'm also going to tell him that YouTube probably didn't notify him.
I tend to be, not exactly friendly and gregarious, but at least, courteous in a sort of a stiff way. So I don't think I'm necessarily completely disagreeable, but I know no one would probably describe me as gregarious and friendly. But
Me Salvers,
I'm a reasonably polite person in most social circumstances. There's times when that can,
Salvers will be differ.
There's definitely instances.
Oh, slavers?
But I think no one has a completely consistent personality. If your eyebrows rape someone, it's still your DNA. No, my eyebrows have different DNA. When they left, they changed the DNA as well. Would you be a tyrant if you had superpowers? I don't need superpowers to be a tyrant. Each eyebrow hair is a distinct personality. Yes, that's true.
There we go.
Very true.
This is a reference to the whole you can't determine worth of a person thing.
State of mind.
Oh.
What is and isn't a flaw.
Oh, what TJ was saying. I was responding to my thing in the Telegram chat and shit, so I wasn't, directly hearing that right off the... I wasn't processing what TJ was saying there for a second, just because I was thinking about what I was saying to my group chat for a second.
Or is it,
That's why I was like, huh? But no, now that you mentioned that, But yeah, you're right. Or white supremacists, or Nazis, or just racists in one way, shape, or form.
Pity for human beings.
I do too.
I think that, I want to help.
I have a lot of doomerism about humanity, but I also have some optimism because, really, pretty much like what TJ was saying. There's a lot of people that actually want to kind of like help people in humanity, and I kind of see myself as wanting to do the same.
Probably a part that was stronger.
Or at least advocate others, especially to try to, do the same, as well, at the very least.
I've, become more empathetic with age. I'm not a naturally very empathetic person, but, I've worked on that attribute in myself, and, I find that...
At least for me, that's the difference. I think I am more naturally empathetic. Like, I always have been kind of a more empathetic person. I've always been kind of, like, skeptical with,
difficult for me to open
as, to anyone that has, like, a higher authority over another person because, like, I mean, just because of, that type of natural empathy. So,
it's far easier
I see it as it is. Well, I'm stuck with this, so I might as well try to make it work. I mean, I'm pretty much on the same feeling.
And that's important.
Like, we obviously, need to try to make, what we have and, like, what we do have and try to make it work. So... But I think that's where, some of my optimism goes to, because, we do have an ability to try to make what we have, work. It won't be pretty, but we can, hey, might as well try. Or I guess we could go the Yoda route. Do, or do not. There is no try.
Intervention,
Which I think is kind of an oxymoron a little bit. Because in order to do something, by proxy, you are trying. Shit like, so... I mean, it's in a way, it's actually kind of oxymoronic, but... I get what the premise of the whole idea means. It's a little bit more metaphorical, more so than anything. It's like trying implies that you can half-ass it. Just doing it, you know, means you just do it.
It might be more valuable. It might be a plant that could bear, you know, a wonderful fruit. But, you know, you have to cultivate it, and you have to tend to it, and you have to be attentive to it. And I think that humanity is a lot like that.
There's no try of taxes. Do or do not. There's no try.
You know, just like
True.
there's a lot of potential
Yeah.
in each and every one of us. And, you know, we don't live up to our potential. Clearly.
That's true.
But we try to. At least some of us do. I think that in the same way that we should all strive
And I
to improve
definitely, at least for
ourselves,
myself, know I have some more potential and want to try to figure out and gain the ability in myself, you know, seize that type of potential.
we understand this
But
as an individual.
in order, at least in my mind, you know, to try to do so, I need to at least, you know, start with some of the more smaller potentials I can snag that are at least a little easier and
Doesn't
work
that
up the
make
ladder.
the entirety of the planet a little bit better? I think it does. So, you know,
And,
everybody's
hey,
a little bit
honestly,
better.
so far I think I'm doing not too bad of a job.
A little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Maybe eventually we're not such a piece of shit as a species.
Yeah.
It could happen. You know, there's no reason not to try, right? I mean, it's pretty easy if you're just gonna be like, yeah, we just suck. Well, kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
It is. Well, just is what it is. Just fuck it.
Maybe.
It's very self-fulfilling
I don't know.
and just
Maybe
very
in
defeating.
in some manner, you know, maybe. Would be nice to be a better person. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to be a better person.
Yeah.
It's not even a difficult thing. People are like, oh, I want to be better. I want to be better. But then they want it to be this sudden, like, I have metamorphosized into this great new thing instantly. Well, that's not how it works. Be a little bit better. If each day you're a little bit better than you were the day before, eventually you're much better. Right? So, it's a matter of like, hey, I learned a new thing today. I learned a new skill. I don't know. I read something. I watched something. I felt something. I became a little bit more compassionate. I did something nice. I don't know. Starbucks queue.
Learning things like little factoids and shit.
Yeah, fuck this line. Call them.
Actually, funny enough, I remember, I think it was in the little mystery episode that Paul did on Thursday, that they were talking about one of their little things where where one dude was like in a movie or something. They mentioned Adrian Brody. Like, I know that much, the actor. And I, like, actually a fun little random thing when it came to, like, learning something new is, when I was listening to that episode and they mentioned him, I was like, oh, Adrian Brody, yeah, the guy that was in the piano stuff. And I just, happenstance randomly decided to look his name up. I found out in his filmography, he has a movie that he's in called Bread and Roses, which is actually about, here, let me look it up, because it's, this movie in, like, the 2000s. Bread.
Of course, the best use.
Movie.
What if there was a fly?
Yeah, 2000.
Oh, shit.
But basically, it's a illegal Mexican immigrant, Maya, finds work as janitor for her sister Rosa. However, since both work for a non-union company, conditions are grim. After putting up with the abuse from her bosses, Maya is open to the pro-union rhetoric offered by an organizer, Sam Shapiro, which is Adrian Brody. Rosa, however, is far less interested in clashing with management given the needs of her family, and the rift begins to form between the sisters.
I don't really understand what they're called. Self-help books?
It's wild how it's the less well-off who are the ones wanting to self-prove and do better, and yet the rich never seem to have the same sentiment. Yeah, it's wild. It's as if the rich already pretty much have, their, means and abilities to have self-improvement and are well-off. But yet, for some reason, just never really want to have that for everyone else. Weird.
But it just depends. It depends on the author. It depends on the philosophy. It depends on your temperament. Because a book that I might read.
Oh, here, I think this Spanish version of the poster for the movie that I just found here of Adrian Brody. Right there on the next, there on the left. This is a pretty cool looking movie. I gotta fucking watch this movie.
I think that
Looks like it's highly rated.
the dark side, I think, of the self-help thing is that it can lead to the creation of
Looks definitely looks pretty fucking cool.
that are not necessarily like a lot of them are just very.
I always like trying to find movies that are actually about this type of stuff, and I know there's Harlan County, USA, which is a documentary. This is a drama, you know, it's a story more so than an actual, like, real life, you know, accountants and stuff, but, I mean, this is literally, you know, a story that is common as, you know, as it can be, really. This is like, you know, wild story based off, you know, legitimate accounts that don't really necessarily need, like, specific names. Like, I mean, it just happens to, you know, people like that all the time everywhere in this fucking country, especially if it happens to be really close to the border and in the South. But, yeah, including places like LA, Portland, too. Places in the West Coast. I mean, hell, there's, like, Ellis Island, you know, fucking in New York and shit.
My ambitions to rule the earth are because I think it would be dishonest to try. Like, I come to you and say, like, I am a demagogue, I aspire towards absolute power.
TJ talking about his plot to rule the world. Venom and I are actually kind of thinking he's pretty serious about it and actually, you know, is not trolling. You think he's serious? I don't know, like, cause I'm honestly thinking he's legit serious. I just don't think he's gonna get any progress whatsoever, but at least depending on his tact, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's see what it wants beyond the fucking honesty there.
Lionsgate fucking made this movie? What the hell?
Reason why this person should rule the earth.
George Lopez is in this?
Maybe there isn't. That's for you to determine.
This guy looks like he's meant to be like some corporate sleazebag.
You know, I'm at the stage right now where I am aspiring to be worthy to rule you. That's the point I'm at.
Who else is in this? I guess.
Trying to get there before I'm too old to do it. Because I already know. I mean, I already know how to do it. I pretty much know how to take over the world now, but I'm not worthy to do it. So I have to bide my time. Get a little.
Hear more about his world-conquering ambitions. I always find it amusing to me.
Improve, improve, improve.
It's like, accept me as your king. Accept me.
Become worthy of my own narcissism. That's the goal.
I guess if it's a means to an end for similar
Check out the
goals.
front page of The Onion and how...
I mean, frankly, I mean, that's how I see it. It's like, yeah, I guess I'll go along to get along with it because we pretty much agree on what should be done. So, okay, yeah. But yes, King TJ. Oh, yes. When the revolution truly begins, you definitely will not be also, you know, one of them either on that front. Because honestly, when it came to the French revolutions, that's pretty much just what happened. Like a lot of people who were advocates of it also were the ones who ended up being, you know, on the block. Not saying TJ should have that. Like I don't want him to, but like knowing how this track would go, like with the whole conquer the world thing. Sukov, excuse me. Like, a lot of people want to be jibing with it. I guess that's why he's trying to maximize his power by trying to get as many people as possible on his side. And try to pitch, you know, to as many people in as many tribes, as you call it, you know, as possible. So he's like, alright, I got the most amount of people on my support, so I'm the least likely to be on that block. Which I guess is also fair enough. So I guess, you know, he's not thinking about it, I guess. So... I just find it interesting that, you know, TJ is like, yeah, I'm committed to this idea now.
And I think it's stuff more like, I don't know, like Saturnalia or like Crucifixion in Space.
I know, I was talking about Manson.
Or like, you know, even Antichrist Superstar itself, Reflecting God.
These are all very good songs.
Even, you know, maybe stuff like,
Dope has a pretty awesome fucking song that I love. It's very groovy. Boom, 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 boom. It's just such a fucking groove.
When you're talking about heavy, you mean like, you know, like headbang and shit. So yeah, a lot of the tracks on Antichrist Superstar are gonna be good for that. I think there's quite a few good ones on Hollywood for that.
Oh,
on Mechanical Animals, but it's more of a glam album.
for the first album, what's a good one that's really heavy?
And I think past that, there's not a whole lot of heavy stuff in that regard. I think that Manson's vocal qualities sort of.
Oh my God, I'm forgetting the song, but I know the verses. Burn the witches, burn the witches.
After that, in that sense.
Like, don't take time to something, something, and it's just like, I'm forgetting that song, but that's a really heavy good one, and very punky too. I don't know why I'm forgetting the fucking name of the song though.
Children grades K through 3. It's like a Republican talking point. I think it's really interesting that Republicans have spent so much time lately lifting cops up as heroes and denigrating teachers as these horrible people, and yet we see that teachers are actually far more courageous than cops are.
And parents.
Happens to come to the school, the cops are absolutely timid little snowflake lily-livered pussies with yellow bellies, whereas the teachers are willing to put themselves in the line of fire to save their students. So yeah, I don't know. So the way you do that is you stop lying about teachers in America.
Seriously. And frankly, they deserve the fucking respect they ought to deserve.
On the right, and it's all to indoctrinate.
I mean, it's just like, because, I mean, there's too many teachers that actually legit bust their fucking ass.
Flies this fucking thin blue line flag. Anyone who flies that, I think, is a piece of shit. Just like, if I see that sticker, I just know, like, oh, I'm dealing with a fucking irredeemable piece of shit. But you know what? That theory was challenged the other day. Because I was driving down the road, and I was in the left lane. There was a guy in a truck in the right lane, and he had one of those thin blue line stickers, and I'm just like, this fucking piece of shit. and he, all of a sudden he swerves in front of me, super aggressive. I'm like, what the fuck, piece of shit.
Well, that's definitely a major piece of shit.
Swerved to avoid hitting a goose and its little goslings and stuff. I was like, oh. Well, I guess he ain't so bad, you piece of fucking shit.
You're not as bad of a piece of shit, you blue line bootlicker.
Nice. He didn't want to kill the goose, and maybe he just didn't want to get his truck dirty. But I'd like to think that it was...
I'm at least glad that, there's some people that are like, oh shit, there's a baby geese and, gotta get out of the way. So, it's like, I love my cops, but hey, I love nature too. Save the geese. Save those babies. I'm pro-life, damn it.
Is a pretty low bar, I know, but I'll take what I can get, okay?
Doc of the Wait, do you even drink Canada Dry? Unironically, yeah. I don't do often, but yes, I have drank it before. It's actually okay.
I mean, if you would have taken anyone over with me, so, I feel like, and there was...
I think it was just afraid of the geese. Try it, we'll fuck you up. Yeah, actually, we got a lot of geese in town, especially at this time of the year as they start coming back from winter. And they usually are pretty chill. They usually don't fuck with you. But if you actually legit fuck with them, like, they will remember you and they will fuck with you.
What are you fucking talking about?
So usually, like, if anything, I'm just pretty chill with them. And sometimes they'll just, like, kind of sit in the grass areas or, be crossing the street and some shit.
Why not?
And sometimes, every now and then I'll actually just kind of shuffle them along, but they don't give a fuck. You can't really shuffle them like you can ducks. A lot of them will just be like, they'll just stop and be like, fucking try it, bitch. Do that, like, with their wings and doing that shit. Like, you can't really, like, come on, cross the street, you can't do that shit.
Like, what happens?
They're pretty much like royalty around here, and if anyone fucks with geese around here, like, people basically will ostracize you. So, even if it ain't the geese, it's gonna be the people around here, including me. I will ostracize you if you fuck with the geese here. You'll be known as that guy.
There was no...
They blasphemize too often. Yeah, well, I mean, I do wish that we kind of did clean it up a little bit. Like, I wish we did that. But, I mean, outside of that,
crash into someone next to you or run over some geese, you run over the fucking geese. But like, if it's reasonable,
Really intense game of Duck Duck Goose.
you should do it instead of killing a fucking animal that doesn't need to die.
No shit.
Like, give me a break. Like,
Honestly, it reminds me of this one time where there's like this little community cat at the apartments that are not too far away from here and shit that I saw get run over because some dumb fuck decided to turn the corner and basically just burst into like, you know, speed. And it was really just some old drunk fuck, basically. It was just some old man that was just, you know, basically probably coming back from the liquor store already have buzzed off his ass. And, you know, basically, like, you know, paralyzed his fucking cat and shit. And it's just like, and I mean, I'm walking back on my last break from work seeing this shit, and it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, you know, yeah, like, I mean, especially when it comes to, like, people on the road, like, you know, there needs to just be a lot more safety and onus, and, like, oh shit, maybe I should slow down and be careful in case, you know, there's some fucking, you know, like, animal that might be around the area or something. Or people. You know, that could be an issue as well. It's like, oh, what if there was a person that he turns the corner, doesn't really notice, and, oh, clips a person, and they fucking break a hip and shit, because they smacked into him. I feel like it should be called Goose Goose Duck, since geese are more aggressive. Yeah.
This is the free speech party, by the way.
Well, I guess the idea is that if it's a goose and you mess with the goose by touching it, it's going to attack you. I think that's the idea. So I'm against old people driving. I get this sense when I see 60 or 70 something going behind the wheel of a car. Yeah, I've had my instances where I've almost been hit. Like, there's been at least like 4 or 5 different times of either old dudes or old ladies like pulling out of like, you know, those little parking, you know, areas and parking spaces out of like, you know, big little mini, you know, those little like side mall things and shit like that, little strip malls or whatever the fuck. And clipping me on my bike. Luckily, I don't crash, but I get clipped where, like, the back of my wheel's like, you know, and I have to kind of like, oh shit, you know, it's like, oh fuck. And I look around, and I'll stop and turn, and either they just like, nonchalantly just driving off, or they'll sit there like, oh, I noticed that. And I'll be like, yo, can you look? Like, I'll do that. I'll be like, yo, look both ways. And just do this. Like, what the fuck, yo? Like, I'm not gonna be, like, you know, a massive asshole about it, but I'm just gonna be like, yo, what the fuck?
We're the party of book burning. Dichotomy solved. They're not the party of free speech. They never were. All just a pretense. Because the only time they want freedom of speech is so they can say, like, I hate Mexicans or some stupid shit. Like, that's
or all those goddamn black people, motherfucker.
Right to fucking shit on other people. It's never because they want to actually, like,
I would be fucking shit drivers need to get the fuck off the road. Well, I guess for me it's not necessarily worth my time, but, you know, honestly, it hasn't happened to me in a long time, so, you know, I definitely don't want to fucking, you know, I definitely don't want to necessarily get that far if it doesn't be necessary.
Free speech. But when it comes to anything actually substantive, when it comes to, like, I want to challenge the system in some sort of, like, definable, tangible, actionable way.
TJ's
like,
preaching.
What?
Oh shit.
Burn them.
Burn them.
Burn them at the stake.
Burn those sons of bitches at the stake. They challenge the status quo. Oh, this person wants to say what back and word and, you know, fate and all this other shit. Oh, that's okay. That's free speech.
You can do whatever you want, I guess, but I don't have the ability to talk to you on my phone. If I was doing a computer stream, I could, like, get you on Discord or something, but this ain't a fucking Discord thing. But no, I mean, really, I wouldn't bother, because I'm not wrong. I'm, like, 100% right on this. There's really nothing you can say. So, yeah, I mean,
honestly, I wouldn't mind having a Discord chat with TJ if he does one of these on a computer.
Just moved to Massachusetts, too.
Be like, yo, I'll give you, like, $20 if you chat with me for, like, 30 minutes or something. Chat about labor and maybe inform you a little bit about stuff, because I know he's not as knowledgeable about stuff on that, so maybe having a legit blue-collar working guy, you know, to actually kind of, you know, talk to him a little bit about the stuff can help him, you know, know a little bit about it.
I understand that sometimes people get, like, really passionate.
I guess another perspective outside of Paul, because he also has that experience too.
Before you hit send, like give it a read over and be like, oh, this makes no sense, and then
Or, oh, this is probably hate speech. Or, oh, this is just fucking disinformation. I should rethink about what I'm saying.
Do you think Manson will ever release an
Honestly, I find it really absurd that at this point there's basically a bunch of people like Candace Owens are just like, oh my god, it's like trans people that are fucking doing the shootings now. It's like, what? Like, if anything, there was probably maybe like one of those kids who, at this point, we will literally never know, but could possibly maybe been trans, but obviously, again, we don't know that, because they tend to be disproportionately far more victims of crimes when it comes to violence and shit. They don't perpetrate them. I mean, I guess there might be exceptions to the rule, but, I mean, frankly, like, what? Like, 5 or 6 of them out of, like, all of them in the country? Like, are we serious? I mean, it's just so fucking ridiculous. I mean, that's apparently free speech, you know, literally to be able to spread outright fucking abhorrent disinformation that, you know, basically just enables more violence to an entire fucking community of people versus, you know, like, challenging the actual system or fucking, you know, getting a little more radical with, you know, how you perceive, you know, said system and shit like that.
Or maybe they're just not racist to your face, and you're too dumb to realize that they're being racist, that they're racist against you. Or maybe your standards for what's racist is like so ridiculously low that like endless, like they can just sit around and be like, I say we lynch all the fucking, you know, and then you're just like, well, I don't see anything racist with that. So I don't know what it is. It's pretty fucking stupid, whatever. But like, I mean, I have fucking know several
Conservatives' brains need to be studied. I'm serious. I want to see if there's a noticeable physical difference between them and just normal, but maybe leftist brain. Honestly, like, I kind of agree. At least, you know, when it comes to a lot of these, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene types, the fucking, like, MAGA types, like, especially them. Like, yeah, there really needs to, because, I mean, I mean, if there's any, like, legit phrenology, there's probably, like, some shit going on with this type of shit, low-key. Like, like, what type of stuff makes it far more susceptible for someone to get into this shit? Was there something there? Because, frankly, I do think there is. I think, yeah, a lot of it is just, I mean, not in a bad way, but I mean, it is. But, like, you know, neurodivergence, like, in a way where it's just, like, where where their brains developed in such a fucking way with, like, whether it's, like, schizophrenia or, you know, very likely that for sure, at least, you know, to some form or another, and, you know, or, like, some form of a psychosis, something, and, or, like, some sort of a psychological disorder that we probably just aren't really truly aware of quite yet, maybe, or need to expand on, and, like, because, honestly, there's something. Especially when it comes to a very disproportionate amount of, like, revulsion towards things like education. It's like, it's like in a way where, like, their brain legit just refuses to expand the capacity because it can't or something. And hence why I think, you know, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene especially are dead ass, at least to some extent, partially illiterate. Because they've absorbed basically all their brain is willing to absorb, and, you know, beyond that, like, their brain's just gonna be mishmouth fucking child play bullshit. If we spot certain mental issues early on and tweak things so that it won't be a problem later without hurting anyone, why not? I mean, at that point, that's not even, like, Hitler-type eugenics, necessarily. It's like, hey, we're looking for, like, major, massive genetic mutations that are in our human genome and trying to selectively breed that out. I mean, not in a way of, like, looking at race or anything like that, but just looking at the specific genetic, you know, markers and shit. I mean, that's not even, like, that's not Hitlerian. Hitlerian would basically just be looking at an entire race of people and being like, alright, release them from genome. Release them from my genome, yeah. They impurify our white bloods in the eye.
I don't know a butthead. I mean, he used to say things, but
oh, he has a Beavis.
He doesn't anymore. I don't know if it's just if the battery is dead, or I think they're probably got corroded, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little Beavis bobblehead. That's dope. What's up, baby?
Fuck Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Oklahoma. We're basically gonna ban abortion even if your cousin fucks you and or rapes you. And you have a baby. We want you to raise that incest rate, baby.
The nectar of the gods. People are either evil or...
I view it as this person is born with more predisposition to diabetes, so we're gonna have to change that.
see perfectly loving and rational people with rich lives.
I mean, it's like I wouldn't necessarily go maybe like that far, but at least when it comes to like, it's like some serious, massive genetic, you know, dispositionary shit. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, Iceland kind of has a minor form of this. Like, they have pretty much like mandatory abortions if you know, when after testing comes up, like your fetus is got Down syndrome. It's pretty much just mandatory. So it's like, I mean, is that not like a form of it? You know, it's like it's very minor, but in a sense it kind of is, but it's weeding out a genetic mutation that will be a detriment, you know, to their society in a lot of ways. It's not like they're saying, oh, fuck Down syndrome people, but it's like, I mean, looking at it at least on a pragmatic level, you know, they would, you know, be more prone to more suffering in their life. And it's just like, in a way, they're just trying to minimize that for other people. And they don't want people to, you know, be dispositioned, you know, arbitrarily, you know, just because of, you know, some fucking genetic factor like that. Which I can understand and get. I mean, you know, so, I mean, you know, that's why at least, you know, on a very minor level on things like that specifically, I'm not against it. But it has to be, you know, pretty much be strictly, you know, to, you know, again, like genetic mutations that might be, you know, like Harley Quinn syndrome or Down syndrome and shit. Again, not saying, you know, oh, just fuck those people. Like, obviously not. Like, the people that are still alive and well and kicking that have those conditions and shit, you know, I got no issue with them. But, you know, it's just like, you know, let's help, you know, ensure that, you know, everybody has, you know, the maximum possibility to have a prosperous life. And if we can remove a lot of arbitrary mutation factors that and risks like that, you know, then why not?
I like the flag. Yeah, I mean,
So I think, I mean, I guess maybe in a sense that isn't necessarily eugenics, but, I mean, if you, I guess, looking at it, that's why I say, like, minor eugenics, I guess, because it kind of is, but I guess on a technical level, it really isn't. I mean, I guess it's not traditionally seen as eugenics, just because, obviously, you know, when you think of eugenics, you're thinking of, like, extermination of the Judens, or the blacks, or blah, 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 or all this other racist, hyper-fucking nonsense bullshit. It's just pseudoscience garbage. But that's how God made them. Well, clearly needs to lay off the sauce then. Yeah, seriously, he needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit. I mean, if he's, you know, basically disproposing people to, you know, extra suffering that isn't necessary. And also, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, every genetic, you know, mutation or defect or whatever the fuck, because if someone happens to just be, like, autistic or something, I don't think that's like, oh, well, mandatory. Or, you know, oh, someone happens to maybe be a little bit more prone to being, like, bipolar or something like that. It's like, you know, okay. You know, there's things that are a lot more significantly manageable that, you know, can, you know, that don't heavily disposition people. In a lot of ways, you know, those things don't necessarily, you know, get riled up or become active things, you know, unless, you know, there's a lot of environmental factors that come into play. But obviously we're talking about a hypothetical society where it's like, you know, they're actually trying to make a betterment for their fucking people.
you're not a person till you're in my
I think basically of selective breeding to achieve a desired result, but I understand usually used in a racist context, yeah.
I mean, I ate a steak earlier today. A big old chunk of steak.
Hey, baby. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is like the
yeah, baby.
thing?
What's up, baby? What's up, baby? Let McFuck. Gas prices are expected to be like $6.20 in August. How's that capitalism work for you? Oh, pretty great. Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not for that. I'm for
You know, just the fossil fuel industry just price gouging the fuck out of consumer more and blaming them for it too, by the way, and being like, oh, well, just drive less. Carpool. It's actually other stuff and inflation. We're just gonna blame you and just say work harder and just earn more money.
I would respect that. I would respect people
Right,
who
right.
more. You know, I respect people who oppose abortion a lot more. For this I support your choice to get an abortion. But, you know, you shouldn't do it. There's a lot of reasons you shouldn't. There's a lot of fucking ethical questions. Blah 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 blah. But it's still your choice. That'd be a respectable thing to say. But this whole like, no choice.
None at all. You don't get trees.
I would not shoot a cow. I mean, I guess I would if I had to. Like,
Some bullshit oligarch probably has a small army of toilets made out of pure gold.
it's either shoot this cow or fucking
Trump.
starvation. I'm gonna shoot the fucking cow. Unless it's producing milk. Probably more valuable to have a replenishable source of...
Well, if you have a cow that is milk, then it's a female cow, so find a bull to fuck the female cow, and then you can have another cow. So there you go, boom.
Abortion should be up to the states. Yeah, I hate that argument.
No, fuck that.
It's like,
Whoever said that is an idiot. That literally, this is what happens when the states do it. You get Oklahoma, you moron.
Am I wrong about this?
Who said that? I want to know who. I actually want to find out what moron said that. What fucking dumbass said that shit?
Means leave it up to the states. Why is this? I mean, like, why is authority being handed down?
Who said that shit? Where was it?
Better than authority being handed down from the federal government. Like, shouldn't people decide? You're pro-abortion, not pro-choice. You just adding fancy words to disguise it. Not you necessarily. I mean, the type of people who use abortion as birth control methods. Sluts.
I'm trying to find it. Is it just not in here?
Abortion as a birth control
Am I
method.
just not seeing it?
It would be insanely expensive to do that.
Alright, whatever.
It's way
Person's an
easier
idiot.
to use other forms of birth control. No one
Alright, what are you doing?
use abortion as my birth control method, even though it's like
They can make a calf, but the calf would be too cute to shoot. Well, I mean, if you could just do it quick and just be, you know, done with it. Like, basically do it immediately after birth or some shit, but then you traumatize the female cow, and the female cow will probably want to trample you to death.
Who are, you know, anti-abortion. But really, it comes to me down to pro-choice and anti-choice. Because, like, me as a pro-choice person, if someone chooses life, that's fine. That's their choice. I don't care. Go ahead. If someone chooses abortion, that's also fine. That's also their
Exactly. Hence, the whole idea of choice is to give people the option and the choice.
And then other people are against choice. You know, they don't want women to have a choice. They just like, oh no, they should be
Subjugate them and make them second-class citizens and basically make them fucking rape and breeding trials. To pump out all your fucking indoctrinatory children to fucking make into a nice little family cult. And give them all the guns you want. Let them all just, you know, become mentally depraved, you know, in some way or another, because, you know, yep, we're not going to worry about that. Force them in church camps where they're probably going to be sexually abused. And they'll come out at 18 looking all nice and hunky-dory, and oh, well, you know, oh, they shot your school. Oh, I wonder why that continues to be an issue.
You know, the thing I always...
By the way, we're going to not just ban, but we're going to be burning these math books because we looks like there's a little bit too much of some queer stuff in it.
Like, you're out one night and you get drunk, and you know, you wake up in the hospital, and you know you have been hooked up to a machine that is using your like liver to keep alive this world famous concert pianist, right? And they're like, oh well, look, you know, we're waiting for a liver transplant, you know, it shouldn't be long, you know, 9 months tops. And we will, you know, get this done, get this liver transplant, and then you know, but until then, you're gonna have to stay here and get a life support system for this person, you know. And it's like, are you obligated to do that, or are you free to be like, no, I'm not going to do that? Because it's the same scenario. Like, you know, you make a bad decision, maybe in a fucking impaired state, and now your body is being used to keep another person alive. But in this scenario, instead of just a fetus, it's a fully fledged human being and an accomplished one at that. It's a concert pianist, right? Someone of fucking actual accomplishment. And yet, even in that situation, I think most people would say, like, no, you're under no obligation to fucking, you know, use your body to keep that person alive. You have the freedom to choose whether you want to do that or not.
I mean, yeah.
You know, but then when it comes to a woman's reproduction, it's like, oh, well, that's different.
I mean, I guess for me, I would be okay with it because, like, okay. I mean, I didn't necessarily ask. I wasn't asked. But hey, I mean, if it's an adult person and I kind of wake up from a stupor and I'm actually like, hey, your body's being used to keep this person alive and blah 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 blah, and it's like, I wish you asked me before you committed to this, but okay. I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, it just basically the whole consent breach would just be the problem fundamentally, but that'd just really fundamentally be it.
Food stamps, oppose like social programs,
it's like, I mean, can I sign a contract about this or something? But nope. Nope. You just wake up. You're just doing it now.
If you have a roof over your head, I don't give a fuck if you're, you know, if you have food to eat. All these things across the board. It's just like, pull
if making concurrent abortion would be non-issue. No shit.
They want to do nothing for you, but then all of a sudden they're going to bend over backwards to save this.
Seriously.
That's when all the
because especially men would not want to be going through whatever fucking, you know, pregnancy pains are going to be like.
You want to fucking have an attitude.
You know, not just the 9 months, but also like, because I really can imagine like another entity developing right here, you know. And fucking like I'm actually trying to comprehend that, and I can't. Like, I don't want to even. Like, it's like, God, it's fucking creepy to me. So just that, and then all the hormonal fucking, you know, changes and shit with that, and then like the birthing process. It's like, I mean, no. Like, I mean, just even. Like, even just simply thinking about it should just make it a non-issue, honestly. Because in my mind, I'm like, it's, you know, like, it's just like, think about it. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm sure some people will be like, well, if I was born and God made me that way, then yes, I would. But I'm sure you get some yokel dumb fuck. Which probably says more about them and their weird insecurities, more so than anything else, if they're willing to be like, fuck the gays, blah, 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 but, you know, if God made me a woman, I would be okay with it, and all this other blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, wait, so you thought about that. You thought about being a woman, huh? It's like, Suddenly now there's another, you know, door that gets open to that.
Yeah, mandatory minimum sentences are a terrible idea.
Boy, you're just a sweet little baby. Look at you. You're so cute. Don't get me wrong, I like kids for about 10 minutes and 20 feet away from me, so I'm not anti-kids, they're just anti-people who don't want or shouldn't have kids with their parents.
1,000 times
yeah.
Abortions, that's exactly the person you don't want to have kids. Well, it's, you know, but for them, I mean, another idiot in the world is like, wow, that bolsters conservatism tremendously. You know,
oh, yes. Yeah. Another idiot in the world. Woo!
Right there.
Great.
You know.
Amazing.
They love idiots. In the words of Donald Trump, I love the poorly educated.
I was just about to say that, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why conservatives love it. I mean, honestly, it goes way farther than Trump. This is Straussian rhetoric, too. I mean, he doesn't say it like that, literally, but the idea, at least when it comes to a lot, which is pretty much a lot of the modern Republican GOP at this point, but a lot of neo-Straussian philosophy is basically just like, yeah, you know, galvanize a lot of uneducated people within, you know, the rural Americas and white working class areas, and just manipulate them and galvanize them into racist, anti-immigrant, fucking socially conservative bullshit, and just radicalize that, and just take advantage of that, and just go hyper pro-war and very war hawkish and all this other shit. And pretty much a lot of Leo Straussian acolytes were a part of the W. Bush administration too.
Well, I mean, everyone can see that these parties use like wedges.
Definitely a major catalyst to what we see to a lot of, you know, social conservatism today now at this point.
By the way,
which goes even farther back than that.
You know, paying
But Strauss was like, I think during like the 30s, 40s, 50s. And then, you know, people like Reagan and shit. Which he also had a few acolytes of him under his administration. But then, you know, Wilda, like you mentioned earlier, they're just assuming these people are just going to end up with their ideals. Well, yeah. They don't always. Like, my mom and a lot of my family, at least on their side, you know, was thinking, oh, you'll grow up to be Republican, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, honestly, even growing up, I'm like, nope. Nope. And these days, that's even a harder nope than it ever has before. So it's like, if anything, I'm dead ass willing to fight, you know, in like literally every step of the way, you know, against that shit at this point. It's not as simple as just like, yeah, nah. I just disagree with that. It's like, no, I disagree with it. I'm gonna punch it in the face. It's like, fuck it. It's like, fuck that party and like, fuck that type of ideology espoused by at this point. So.
To screw over so they can say we did a thing. I find that hard to believe simply because of all of the commerce that relies on those to transport goods. But I don't know, I'll look into it. Because that sounds fatuous and impossible. But I guess I'll look into it and see before I speak too soon.
What am I missing on? What was DJ mentioning?
Ban doors. Yeah, the doors are the problem.
There's too many doors in schools, guys. We need to have less doors.
If Trump loses again,
and basically have like an entire squad of like SWAT teams at that one door.
Trump's not gonna. MAGA is dead.
Then lock it when, you know, school's in session. And have it by, you know, checkpoint by checkpoint basis.
The bad news is
make it like an airport, even though we as Republicans hate airports.
And he's way worse.
Yep. Why Republicans so fucking stupid and like like contradictory. Like, they break my brain too many times.
A vocal minority. It's like every time I talk shit on vegans, it seems like everyone in the fucking country is vegan because they're just so loud and obnoxious. But really, it's
they really are. They're just super loud and annoying.
DeSantis can compellingly make the case that he's a more effective version of Trump. DeSantis can go.
In a way, he is.
Be like, look, I'm everything Trump claimed to be, but I'm politically effective in ways that he never was. And he can fucking...
And that actually, to the extent, is true.
He's more articulate, and he's fucking... I don't know. I just feel... I feel it in my gut. I'm rarely wrong about who's gonna fucking get the nomination of their party.
I kind of tend to agree with this one. I agree with his gut. I agree with Dr. Segmento.
I feel like his finger's on that pulse. I feel like he's Trump plus, like...
There's too many, like, MAGA-style Republicans that are losing and shit every now and then. Like Purdue, for example, that are just not, you know, that is just showing that a lot of that influence is waning to an extent, but not a lot. Like, that mentality is still there. But, like, this whole aspect about Trump specifically is waning. But that Trumpian philosophy is still there. And DeSantis is, like, pretty much, like, looks like, at least in my mind, the next heir. I've thought that for a while, and, you know, to me it was either going to be Trump or DeSantis. But considering how things are looking for a lot of Trump-backed style candidates, I mean, it just seems like as long as you're just Trumpian, you know, then, you know, you're good. But if you're fucking, you know, like, going to go Trumpian and basically, you know, go hog dog him with his whole, like, election blah 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 bullshit, then you're fucked. So, it seems like they're willing to ditch Trump, but not his politics. So, that's pretty much, like, how I see DeSantis, and it's like, okay, yeah, honestly, more and more he's looking like he legit deadass could be the nominee in 24. And that ain't good. He'd literally be a more sophisticated Bush without a VP basically having the reins. Do we need that? No.
Whatever. Whatever you want. You can call yourself whatever you want. Have fun. I'm the fucking tooth fairy, you know? You're the angel of death. Why not?
I like it.
Whatever the fuck you want, I guess. Whether it fucking applies.
And I'm Joe Hill. How do you do, sir?
Snatch that hat off Tim, TJ. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, right? Just like jump across the table.
Okay, we're definitely gonna be it's good. Like, I definitely gotta watch some of the Timcasts that TJ gets on. Like, oh, Rip City. TJ is actually gonna go on Timcast and actually go meet Pim Tool. And I swear to God, if TJ does not take that hat off his head, I'm gonna be very disappointed. We need to see what's under that hat. We as a people, we as the American people, have a right to know. And also, I hope TJ just fucks on him endlessly. Like, yeah, start soft and sweet, you know, for like 30 minutes, and just get into it and just fuck on him. Like, get the nice banter out of the way, you know, but then just like, alright, here's how much of a fucking retarded moron you are, so you're a fucking idiot because of this, and just like smack it out and just lay it out. Just go hard, just out of nowhere. TJ versus Pool. Yeah. They're working out a time frame, like they're figuring out when they're gonna do it, but in the next couple months, that is legit gonna be a thing. So sometime in the summer, basically. Probably like July or August. So who knows? I'm actually hoping sooner. Like, I really hope it happens sooner than later. I think vegans will use the argument of humans are more intelligent, so we have a responsibility to not eat animals or something, but it's not like I asked for this. I didn't ask for a higher consciousness. I'd rather be a cat. Honestly, though, yeah. Life would be so simple, and plus, animals also have some morality, and don't see your asses trying to stop lions from eating gazelles because that's natural order, right? Yeah. For certain reason, though, that can't apply to humans. Exactly, and we, as humans, are omnivores. We've evolved that way. So, as a part of natural order, we hunt and gather, which meant we hunted other animals as predators and gathered, you know, when it came to herbivore, you know, gathering of, you know, berries and fruits and, you know, vegetables and other stuff. Because we're, you know, in a lot of ways, opportunistic animals. We will hunt and gather and, you know, pick whatever is edible and good. Sometimes things are poisonous, so we might shit your brains for a day or two, but hey, you realize, okay, don't eat those. Find other berries. Sometimes you might find psychedelic berries, and you're like, oh, I'm tripping balls, whoa, bro. Well, maybe not like berries, but, you know, mushrooms and shit like that. But still, it's just like, I mean, it's, yeah, like, maybe the way we are, you know, like, acquiring meat and stuff like that is fucked up, and I agree with that. If we can find an alternative like lab-grown meat that's safe, then sure, we wouldn't need to kill animals for now. This was a guess, got chief, yeah. And even then, I wouldn't necessarily mind it, but, like, we have to have, like, a very strong regulatory mind about it, where it's actually, you know, treating these animals with at least some form of, you know, having at least some basic rights. Not like, you know, the same as a human being, obviously, but at least some basic right of life. You're like, hey, you know, we have at least some obligation. Let's not fucking, you know, we have a obligation to not infringe their rights to just at least live a somewhat decent, comfortable life for what that animal needs. You know, if they're in a domesticated format, like, you know, hey, they're in agriculture and we, you know, use them for milk and, you know, beef or for something like that, and cheeses. I mean, at the very minimal, they at least deserve, you know, a nice, happy, comfortable life, you know, before they get slaughtered for pasture and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, at very minimal, might as well at least, you know, treat them. Besides, if they're healthy, then isn't the meat, you know, better and more juicier and nutritional and stuff like that because it's a healthier cut of meat? So shouldn't there be, like, if anything, you think there'd be an incentive for it? But no, you just have to get the quantity of it out. Who cares if there's, like, parasites, rat, like, fungus, or whatever weird, well, okay, maybe not that, but, you know, it's just, like, you know, who knows what, you know, it's like, who cares if there's, like, some weird parasites, like, mystery meat shit, fucking, like, you know, fecal matter stuff, you know, legit, depending on the quality of the meat, like, it'll be, like, bottom of barrel shit like that. Like, seriously, I mean, it's like, why? Gross. Thanks, capitalism. If anything, if these vegans really looked more at the root of what the fucking issue was about this, which really is just capitalism, strange how that seems to be the root of a lot of problems. But, you know, if they, I mean, it's like they kind of get it, but they don't see that as the root of it. It's like, they just see it as a part of the issue. It's like, no, that's the root of it. Like, they think that the part of the issue is just humans by some weird, like, social construct just want to eat meat. It's like, no, that's literally a part of, like, a healthy diet is to at least have some meat. I mean, like, what the it's like, oh my god. Like, we evolved for it. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, if they want to have that personal choice for their diet, go for it, I don't care, but don't fucking, like, like, religiously, like, push on other people. It's a major turnoff.
I know nothing. Nothing.
I knows nothing.
What? What? Ted Cruz would be more infuriating in the sense that he's like
a bitch.
Horrible to look at and listen to.
Because he's a bitch.
But I don't know that he would actually be worse in terms of policy or effectiveness.
You may be fine with having an iron deficiency, but I'm not. Or omega-3s if you don't eat fish. If you don't eat certain things like seafood and stuff, which I love seafood, then you don't get things like omega-3s and other vitamins and nutrients and stuff that come from different things like that. I get that a lot of people aren't a big fan of it, and you can get these same things in other ways, but a lot of them tend to be in seafood.
You guys are getting so emotional and injecting your...
There's also, like, you know, different proteins that you can only get in meats, you know, unless you, like, do some weird artificial alternative to it, which is, like, basically these vegan alternatives and shit, which aren't as good at all, and actually, in a lot of ways, can kind of not be that good on your body. I mean, some vegan foods actually can be pretty good, but I'm more down for, like, the vegan foods that are just, like, actual, like, foods and stuff. Like, I haven't actually tried, like, the Beyond Beef burgers and shit like that. I think some vegans don't consider fish meat, which, yeah, it is. Yeah, it literally is. It literally is. I think it's vegetarians that will make exceptions like that. Like, I know there are some vegetarians that will make exceptions for things like eggs, milk, and seafood, but basically nothing else. And it's like, I can at least kind of get that. I've had Beyond Meat, it's pretty good. That's what I've heard. Like, I've heard that Beyond Meat, you know, for a vegan alternative is actually not bad. Like, I've heard some stuff is actually kind of shitty, but, you know, if you know what to look for, a lot of this stuff can actually be pretty good. That's what I've heard. I mean, because honestly, like, I mean, you know, as much as, like, you know, again, turn off that vegans can be, a lot of, like, the products, you know, for them actually necessarily aren't really that bad. Milk and eggs are vegetarian, they aren't vegan. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, vegetarians make exceptions to, you know, animal products, but not, like, you know, full-on meat. But then they'll make, you know, certain exceptions for things like seafood or maybe, like, crustaceans and stuff, like lobster and crabs and shit, but... But there are some vegetarians that will, like, refuse to have things like eggs, but will have things like cheese and milk, so... you know, I know some vegetarians might be picky depending on, you know, like, their views or how they feel about it, I guess, so I don't know. Either way, it's like, do whatever you want with your health when it comes to your diet, like, you know... like, I mean, hey, if you want to, like, maybe encourage people, it's like, hey, you know, try some different vegan alternatives and stuff, you know? Some of them are actually pretty good. It's like, if, honestly, vegans are just like that about it, like, yeah, you know, hey, you know, I'd probably encourage you to try not to eat, you know, a lot of meat, but here's, like, some different alternatives that are actually kind of good. You might like it. If they were just like that about it, I'd be like, okay, you know, I'd actually, think about it at least. But they, like, so many of them just have this weird religiosity about it, where it's like, oh, I have to, like, preach it and proselytize it like it's the word of God or something. It's like, good fucking grief, man. Luckily, it is a loud minority on the internet, but still, it's still very fucking annoying. Because, honestly, even at my work, I have people that, like, do you have any, like, you know, vegan things here? And, you know, honestly, a lot of our salads are pretty much, like, you know, vegan salads, you know, essentially. So I'll just be like, yeah, you know, we got some different options in our salad case. If you have a question about one, you know, I can look at the ingredients list for it and see if there's anything that might be non-vegan and shit. And they're like, okay, yeah, what's that? You know, is there anything that's not vegan in that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not, like, weird or preachy about it. They're just, like, they just make a small special request and that's it. You know, so it's, you know, it's pretty simple as, you know what I mean? It's like, at least vegans in person are actually just like anybody else. They just have a diet choice and, you know, and just are making decisions based on that. And honestly, frankly, even if they are preachy online and shit, if in person they're just like chill as fuck, then whatever. I don't really give that much of a fuck. Just quit being a preachy proselytizer online. Like, that's just all I'd say to them.
Undecided on everything in the universe until I argued it out with Cynic.
Is he? Wait, what?
What would it take to make you change your mind?
Oh my God! Is Cynic trying to like get him in a weird conspiracy thing?
To me, that the things I just said about him that are demonstrably true are somehow not true. Like, I'm living in some kind of parallel universe where the things that are just like matters of public record are somehow not real. I don't know. Yeah. Like,
I love how he just elaborates.
Everything I said about him is true. There's no denying any of it. It's
Cynic is, I'm assuming he was saying he's like kind of a conspiracy Alex Jones MAGA nut, but harmless nonetheless. I mean, yeah, pretty much. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's like our little husky. In fact, where's he been? I haven't seen him in a minute. Where's the little husky been? Has he just been lurking? He's just been kind of a lurker these days, or is he just, you know, did he like evolve and move on to greater pastures? Did he evolve like a Pokemon?
No, I thought so.
Because me and Venom have kind of like had a consensus of just like, yeah, we think he's legit. We just think he might be evolving a little. Maybe he is a little husky. Maybe. Well, if he was, then I don't think he'd be master trolling me, because, I mean, we have each other's numbers, and we've texted, like, I'll be at work, like, you know, and he'll hit me up and be like, you know, I'm kind of thinking about Little Husky in a minute, and it's like, do you think he's actually kind of evolved a little bit? Because honestly, I think he's kind of genuine and has changed a little bit. And I'm like, you know, we just have, like, you know, backs and forths, and, you know, kind of joking them out a little bit, you know, to each other and shit, send memes and shit, so, I don't know, like, it'd be a master fucking troll if he was trolling it, but if that's the case, he'd be doing it for a long time. He'd be master trolling me for a while then, if that's the case. I mean, he's trolled me a few times like that, but I mean, not 100%. He would eventually just come out and be like, all right, that was me, I was kidding. He's got too much of an honest heart, methinks. I like how we have a flamboyant ranting Viking every now and then. I only flare up occasionally to tune into and then just quiet him down.
I think he was trolling. Well, I don't care if he is at this point. I'm trying to do a fucking show. I'm trying to talk to people that are fucking, like, worth my fucking time and not just be fucking sidetracked by an idiot who fucking is acting like a moron in here. What's wrong with Cynic today? I don't know. The same thing that's been wrong with him for the last, like, 3 years. He's
Meth?
fucking Alex Jones, like,
meth head
and shit. You know, I don't know. I'll probably let him back. I mean, I got a weird soft spot for Cynic, so I'll probably let him back in.
Just like I have for Little Husky. He's our little Cynic, dude.
No. Like, is that even the real Cynic? Who knows anymore? Fucking fake ones. Alex Jones viewer, yes. There's so many fucking fake Cynics that who even knows which one's real. Or maybe there aren't any fake Cynics and it's all just Cynic. There's fucking who even knows, like, there's been this whole fucking, like, whatever with it. Watch the character stick around.
It's so true. There's literally like 20 Cynics that are like around.
Mindedness or something, or some vague notion thereof.
It's ridiculous. I like how he's just getting fucking like psychologically fucked with by Cynic at this point, or just a bunch of people trolling about Cynic. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus, I love it. What the fuck? Oh, poor TJ. This is the new Gurgi for him. He's gonna explode over this one day. That was just like that was like a simmer. That was some simmering right there. He's gonna like explode off one day about
not as much
this.
as I should, but yes.
It's just gonna, we're gonna see it. Like, we're gonna see TJ just blow the fuck off one day over this whole cynic shit. We're just, God, that's gonna be glorious.
It's a little easier.
I know TJ enough to know that all was just simmering. Like, that was just like a simmer right there. That was
Honestly, I
nothing.
don't even give a shit. You know, I used to think he was a pretty dishonest fucking commentator, and I still think he's equally as dishonest as he was at the time. But now there's so many ones that are worse. Couldn't care.
Oh, you want a belly rub? Oh, yes you do. You're such a sweet boy. Oh, you look like a big chunk.
Imagika.
Oh, you big chunk of wonka.
TYT said he retired. Military official warned of a coup in 2024. Do you think it's credible? I mean, they tried one in 2020, so I mean, I guess. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I would want to say no, but yeah, the 2020 happened.
Jenkins flown under the radar, but he's still.
I guess technically 2021, but I mean,
who cares?
Whatever.
He's not. I don't know.
But
He's not been relevant.
I guess it depends on if the DeSantis nominee and if he's crazy enough to actually do some shit like that. But I guess it also would depend how significant the results are, because I don't think he's stupid enough to go Trump route with it. If it's like similar margins, yeah, I don't think he's gonna be that stupid. If it's close, like an Al Gore style shit, yeah, we can probably see something like that. And
I haven't thought of Cenk for years until this moment. Are you familiar with Ben Burgess?
Well, I haven't thought of Cenk until now.
I don't know.
I really thought of Cenk until that blow up that Anna Kasparian had over the whole Roe v. Wade thing, where he was basically like, "All right, Anna, I'm gonna be here to basically be the voice that calms everyone down a little bit. I'm the quiet voice that lets everyone know that we're pissed." But
said Biden is senile and Kamala is a wet blanket. I think Bernie might run again in 2024. There's no way. Bernie Sanders is like, what is he gonna be in 2024? Like 86 or something?
oh my god, if he's that old, we're gonna only have him for like half a term, and then he's gonna be so stressed out he's just gonna croak.
That shit don't sail.
He better have a young ass VP.
I don't have a problem with Hassan Piker.
How to spell his name, Cenk. Yeah, because he has just like, I mean, because pronouncing it is, you know, like when you spell it, you think how you pronounce it looks like, you know, not even remotely close.
I don't know. I don't know.
It looks like it should have like a J or like a G or something for Cenk. So, because it'd either be like Sank or Sank.
Or maybe I just haven't seen him as best.
Or I guess like Kenk, but depending on how you pronounce the C. But it's not even close to that.
Mecca Bernie Sanders, whatever the fuck. What?
This makes me so mad I'm gonna stare sternly at a camera, put my fists on the desks. I am serious, people. Yeah, when someone else pops the fuck off, he's always gonna be the calm, cool, collected one to basically, you know, be like, try to be the, you know, the cool-headed one, you know. But if he's the one that's popping off, usually everyone else is kind of quiet and just kind of lets him pop off a little bit. But then he does that same, like, kind of cool collectedness to himself, usually like 5 minutes later after someone else vents.
Do something, I might not be able to pull it off as well, but I can give it a shot. I feel like if I just stick to black and white, it should come across the sort of similar. Did you get rid of your eyebrows? Yes. I do not have any eyebrows anymore. They're gone. Gone.
You just want more belly rubs.
Are you excited for Kevin Bacon's new horror movie entitled They Them? It's a slasher film that takes place in a conversion therapy summer camp.
Oh, murder. Such a sweet thing.
I've never been a huge Kevin Bacon fan, but I guess I should give it a chance.
The Jank Sweat. The tried true method of see how election's going. Dude, it is, I love it. I go by that metric. I have truly adopted this metric.
When you fucking were like, let's Cynic back.
Oh god, it's back again.
I watched a documentary on how they made the worms.
Cynic.
They literally had a guy inside them, and they
But yeah, like, cause honestly, dude, 2024. I mean, depending if I work that day or not, like, honestly, dead ass, I'm probably just gonna. I guess if DFF, you know, does it publicly or not, they might. But if they do a live election coverage and do this Jank Sweat metric, like, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to, you know, keep up with that shit for sure.
But it should be coming out like in the next week.
Because, yeah, I want to see how, like, you know, yeah, we gotta see how sweaty he is. Because, like, in 2016, like, it was insane. Like, that's when, you know, because I remember, at least on my own time, tuning into TYT and seeing the sweat meter on Jank, and it was like, as it got further and further into, you know, the results, it was like the sweat got more intense.
Spider Baby is a great movie.
And this election cycle wasn't really that intense because, well, you know, there was some, you know, moments of, like, sweats, but it wasn't as intense. But that was just because Biden was kind of more seen to win, so. At this rate, there is a sweat meter going on here. Oh, little baby.
So I guess you can kind of see it there.
Oh. Oh, baby. Little sweet thing.
Yeah, I loved the Zeus episode. That was pretty great.
Zeus episode was ridiculous. Zeus the incestual rapist. What all the Republicans evidently, like, praise and revere. I guess that's their new god, is Zeus. Because they basically, at least in Oklahoma.
You are the Zeus, TJ. There is no objective reality.
Hold on.
You dudes
Trying to get a fucking hair on. This has been tickling me for a minute.
Well, he's pretty easy to rip on. Like, you know, I don't know if there's ever been a less inspiring.
I thought their god was, well, God.
Guy.
Well, they still call him God.
Like, especially.
But honestly, looking at it, their god is starting to sound more like Zeus, at least in Oklahoma, with how they do their abortion ban law. And pretty much any other fucking state that does it too. Oh my god, this hair. Come on. Did I get you? No?
Even like Trump and Bush, you know, like had some kind of like finer points, you know, like at least they had some kind of balls, maybe. Biden is just like.
I'll do this over here at least.
Talk about an empty suit, basically.
Come on. Come on, hair. Get out. Fuck you.
There's like, yeah, he's like.
Oh, I got you.
He's used up. He's a prune.
There we go.
He's a fucking withered, dried old prune.
Joe Biden's just a modern James Buchanan.
There's nothing left that Joe Biden did.
But strikes rights. Then why don't you guys implement a federal ban? Supremacy clause, federal law overrides state law, guys. Hey, sit off. Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
Husk Joe Biden is president.
Hey.
Where is my cough syrup? I don't know.
So cough. Hey.
Your medicine cabinet.
Hey.
Like a warrior princess.
Sukov, get over here.
Show on USA then.
What are you doing, bro?
Ugh.
You absurd little prick. The hell? God.
Why you done?
I yearn for that mustache right there.
Blows Elon. Yeah, I gave him a little shit for it the other day on the onion nuggets. I didn't really overtly say that, but I just kind of like started like making declarations like Tesla done. Tesla's fucking over.
Honestly, yeah, like, I mean, the idea that, like, oh, you know, like Elon Musk and Tesla and all this shit, you know, there is some innovations, like, it's, oh my god. It's like saying Thomas Edison is, like, literally, like, the pinnacle of how, like, you know, technology advanced during his age. It's like, no, he literally stole everything from other people. Like, I mean, he's basically the modern Edison of our age. So this idea that, oh, you know, it's like he did some good, it's like, no. Even the stuff he did do and research into and shit wasn't even, like, really, you know, something he had that much prioritization. He just would, you know, maximize the money by just, you know, stealing all the patents. It did just make his other researchers and workers, you know, figure out the other shit themselves, but, you know, obviously heavily overwork them and underpay them and overstress them and all that stuff, so ends up not even really being great.
He runs, in my opinion, but it is valid now. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, it wasn't even bullshit last time. It was just like he was too old, but like that was the only real strike against him. So it was like, you know, whatever. We'll overlook that. But now, like, he's way too old. Come on, way too old. We're not talking about just like a little too old now. We're talking about like way the fuck too old.
Yeah, honestly, a little bit.
You know, he's not even close to being.
I'm invested in Dogecoin. Not much, only $10 a month, but, and I know this is irrational. I have Ethereum, more money to contribute to it. The worst deal I want to do, so I keep doing it.
He's still more intelligible than Biden. Who isn't?
Huh.
Every other.
I'm just invested in Lucid right now. Because honestly, I noticed that every now and then there's these massive spikes and shit. And it's just like, Right now, I'm on the underside of it. I'm underwater on it right now, but I've just been holding it on, you know, for the long term anyway. Like, I haven't touched it in a while. Like, I have it like a little over 1 share in it. I think it's like 1.1 something. I think in, you know, sometime down the road I might, you know, put a little more in there, but I'm gonna wait for it to kind of bump up a little bit. Because I'm underwater, like, I think like 10 or something like that right now. But, you know, once it goes down to like 5, I'm gonna, you know, probably put a little more in there.
Motherfucking GJ.
I mean, because honestly, at least for me, I'm not, like, totally against, you know, the ideas of markets and shit like that, but it just needs to be actually something that, you know, the average common folk people can also freely partake just as much as these rich fucks can, too. Or only the rich fucks can partake in the way we have to. One or the other. And also, if you, like, work at a job, you should also be able to have, you know, some built up over time just on the virtue of working there over, you know, over the 10-year working there.
But, I'm doing an unusual...
Like, you know,
it's not unusual.
a stock, like a stock, you know,
a lot of
right off the, you know, like, when you first start working, like, the first month, you'll get, like, you know, a small little share. And then, you know, like, every 6 months, you know, you get, like, a half a share or some shit. Or whatever the fuck, you know, or however it works out. I'm just throwing a number out there at least. You know, so let's say you work, you know, if you get like half a share every 6 months, so every year you get a share and you work there for 6 years, and you get 6 shares. And if you never touch it whatsoever and you just happen to look in and see what's in there and like, oh shit, I could probably cash this out. And, you know, you realize like, oh shit, you know, like I've just had... You know, just on the virtue of just working here, you know, probably like up to probably $1,000, give or take, again, depending on what company you work for. I mean, there needs to actually be like, you know, the market also be tied, you know, to the workers. I mean, just as much as the rich folks and, you know, the Wall Street class. If anything, it needs to be cut away from them more so and, you know, well, distributed. Like the whole, you know, redistribute the wealth idea. Do so of the market. Why stop at just the wealth itself?
But I'm not really.
Use a lot of the fucking, you know, institutions and gambling things that they always like to use too. Hit that.
So.
No, I guess Mark's necessarily just the way the US. Yeah, exactly. I'm just pretty much against the way the US does it and shit. That's why, you know, I invest in the market to some extent, because, like, again, I'm not against the concepts. It's just the way the US does it in this hyper-capitalistic system of way of doing it. I guess, like, one of the few things about capitalism I'm not necessarily against, but I think you can have stock markets and shit like that, you know, without capitalism. You know, I don't think they're inherent to each other.
I wouldn't really say it's light cardio. It's not. I don't do a long session of cardio.
At least they don't necessarily have to be.
Of HIIT, high intensity interval training on the treadmill, which is basically like 2 minutes soft, and then another minute like going harder, and I'll do that for like 10 minutes. And
I don't invest in it because I don't support the way US does it. Too heavily favors the ruling class. Yeah. I mean, that's why, I try to look for more smaller, type of stocks and stuff. Like, the only one that I really have, like, that's a part of, like, the, ruling class is Hostess. And it's mainly just because of the actual, like, name that it is on the market. It's literally one letter away from Twink. It's TWNK. So, it's just like, alright, just on that virtue, and ever since I've had it, it's always been positive, and it's always been, like, kind of up and down in the positive. Like, and it seems like it's always been slowly going up, so, you know what, I've just been holding on to my Twink, for, for a while, I'm just sitting on it. But, that's pretty much really the only one that, is a part of that specifically. I mean, I guess unless, like, Lucid Group, one of the electric car companies out there, outside of, like, Tesla and shit. Or, like, there's other ones, like Rivian and a few, like, obviously Ford is doing it too and shit like that. But, unless I guess you count them, but, I mean, I guess so, because I think it's, some of the money was vested in by a few billionaires and shit, so, I mean, it's like, I guess so, but, I mean, I guess, like, the company in itself isn't necessarily, just because it's not like Tesla where they own, like, the majority of the electric car market.
I mean, really, you should not, if you're gonna do
I mean, either way, it's just like, yeah, the way the US does it and how it is and shit, still don't like it, but, like, I also got one in the Eastside Brewing, which is a local, Oregon-based company, obviously, so. I mean, it's, stationed out here in Portland.
For like a few reasons. But if the way that
So, I mean, it's like you could find some actual, like, good, ethical, legit, companies to invest stock into. But they never always usually do good. That's why there's, like, the whole, like, invest in the owner class stuff, because that shit would just go up. I mean, there's kind of some truth to it in a way. Like, if you have, like, investments in the military contracting, like, companies and shit, like Raytheon or Lockheed Grumman or some shit like that, like, yeah, your stocks are probably doing good. Like, they're probably doing hunky-dory, especially Raytheon. So, considering how Biden's so buddy with them. So, yeah, it's like, it's just like, it's stacked in the favors of, some very specific people.
Cardio first and your weightlifting first, because you're gonna fatigue yourself.
And so I think why leftists have such a turnoff to the ideas of stock markets, and probably just against them, period, because of shit like that. But it's like, I mean, stock markets, aren't the problem. It's how they're fucking done, and and how they're done now, shit.
So but I don't really do cardio day, because like even if I'm just doing weightlifting, like
oh my goodness.
look on my app.
Hold on, look at this little ball.
I'm still going into cardio.
Look at the sweet little baby ball.
Just from doing this.
Oh.
I'm straight into it, and I'm like enough out of shape.
Oh.
How do you find the drive to stay consistent?
Little chungus.
The key is that even if you
This is a little tail poking out.
you just do it.
Just a little ball poof.
Like,
Oh, just so cute and just so sweet.
I have a Fitbit, so I use the Fitbit app.
Oh.
Was there a particular event that motivated you to take fitness seriously? Well, one thing that I've learned is that motivation is ephemeral. don't rely on motivation. Motivation is a piece of shit. Rely on discipline. Discipline will get you through the hurdles and the humps. Motivation won't. Motivation will fucking fail you. So don't rely on motivation. Motivation is great to like spark something in you, like I'm gonna do this. But from there, that motivation is not gonna be there the whole fucking time, like a bedrock for you to stand on. It's going to wax and wane. It's gonna come and go as it pleases.
Yeah, that is actually kind of true.
Having like the self-discipline to.
If anything, having like this, yeah, he's actually kind of right.
That's the really hard part, and that requires you telling the little voice in your head that's like, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck this shit,
you,
boo.
I'm doing it.
Motivation, boo. Need discipline in there to be like, no, fuck you, we're doing it, bitch.
I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but it's actually, according to some research I've done recently, like, having a little bit of fat, being a little overweight is actually maybe not so bad for you.
I mean, there's a lot of there's like a lot of animals that tend to have a little chunkiness in them.
Extra fat, like some fat stores.
I mean, like evidently, if there's animals in the animal kingdom that legit have like some chunky fatness on them, then evidently there must be some health to it. Some health benefits to it, especially for humans. It makes sense to have at least like a little bit of chunk. I mean, think about it, especially during the winter. If you're up in cold environments, especially at night, yeah, you're gonna want a little bit of fat to keep it warm. On top of some probably freshly killed leopard pelts or some shit. Edit cave.
Yeah, I'm definitely need to lose weight. I'm too fat. But I don't really want to lose all my weight. I want there to be. I want to have a little.
Like peanut butter. Put that in a protein shake and goddamn.
I'm curious if Gypsy King with natural fat padding. I don't know what that is, but maybe you're right.
Oh, what's this? This reminded me of a quote from a book I got down. A character by the name of Sam Vimes. He never liked chess because the kings never did anything. If the pawns would simply untie the board, it would become a republic in a few turns.
Is there a personal trainer despite cost? Not really. I like to go my own way. I don't really want to.
It's funny how the queen is also seen as a little bit more expendable, but strangely enough, more powerful.
I listen to all kinds of different personal trainers.
Energy Bar, on the other hand, oh yeah. Dude, they're like
I'll tell you what,
top tier goated.
to 100 personal trainers.
I mean, untie, I'm tired. Oh.
That are very different from one another, And, when you are,
Oh yeah, you said untie the board, yeah.
Take the aggregate of all that. Now, if you're not if you're not like, okay, so I'm a person that loves to research the fuck out of everything, okay? I don't do a goddamn thing without doing a fucking mountain of research first. So, if
Unite.
you're not like that.
God damn it.
Then, yeah, maybe a personal trainer is good for you, because then you have a guru, you have someone to look up to. But if you're like
if the pawns to simply unite, the board would become a republic in a few turns. Oh. That makes more sense.
I don't know if you need a personal trainer. Just watch a bunch of them and see what they all say.
And it's true.
If you are going to be a personal trainer, maybe just get them to teach you.
The word that means join things together. Yes, unite. Or combine. Or merge. Conglomerate. Collectify.
About this body transformation that I'm trying to undergo is that
Just pretty much saying like different words that pretty much mean the same thing.
I'm a very impatient person. Like, I want results and I want them now. I'm an American for fuck's sake. I want quick results.
I want my
now.
Where's my money? I want my money and I want it now.
That's not how it works.
Call J.G. Wentworth 877 cash now. Or 8777 cash or 87.
That's hard.
Yeah, 877.
It's hard for someone like me to accept.
Or whatever the fuck it was. I can't believe I remember that. What the fuck? That was like some old ass fucking ad in like the mid 2000s.
The age of 37. I wish I was doing this at the age of 20 or something, maybe even younger. But it is what it is. Life is life.
Hey, honestly, you wouldn't want to be that way.
always keep
The algorithm will fuck you even harder there, TJ.
The book I'm reading now.
I guess that would imply maybe he would be a Twitch streamer too, but also he would probably get banned.
My friend Corey is always telling me, like, hey.
So I guess he would still, be on YouTube. Are energy bars healthier than protein shakes? Basically just one, I guess, keeps it simple, so milk, water, mix with powder. Yeah. Well, energy bars are also, are something that is actually like a physical, like, thing to digest, while, like a protein shake is more of a liquid.
That was in the book that really resonated with me.
I tried eating straight powder once, not a good idea. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't focus on the goal.
If you remember that dumbass cinnamon challenge, I was like 11, but I tried doing that, and yeah, stupid idea.
Maybe you won't, because if you don't reach it, you'll feel like a failure, and if you do reach it, then it's like, oh, well, I did it. And then it's like, well, now I have permission.
I mean, I eventually got it down, but...
Focus on the system. Focus on the system improvement, and push it to its fucking absolute fucking limits. And that's what I do. I'm trying to be the best I can fucking be. My goal is to reach the fucking pinnacle of whatever perfection I'm capable of. That's that.
That is that bitch.
TJ,
that ought to be like the American fucking like zeitgeist, but unfortunately it ain't. I feel like there used to be a day where that actually at least was, the zeitgeist in a lot of people in the country, but yeah, not really as much. It's like little tiny islands more so than like little continents within it. I beat it. My brother showed me that you just had to let it become wet.
Right.
That's how I eventually got it down. I was just kind of like glomping, like I got like the spoon in there. I kind of did it upside down. I went, oh, like that. Did that.
I can't spell, comma, TJ.
And then I just kind of spread it around and went, oh god. And just kind of waited a while and just like swallowed what eventually was starting to get wet. And just started like, and just eventually started picking for everything. And eventually I got some water and some bread to kind of, and I actually dead-ass used like a slice of bread and just like, the wash. So it got stuck on the bread as it started moisturizing, so it became like a cinnamon bread. Like I like it was just ridiculous. It wasn't a good idea. It was stupid. But it was back when it was the meme and I was a kid, so, it could be excused. I did the ice challenge too, but, I mean, and I guess while equally as ridiculous, it did, I mean, that was at least, not harmful. Like, uh-oh, you got ice water on you and you're gonna be all wet.
Listen to something while I'm doing it, and, I started listening to, like, the first chapter of it, I'm like, wow, this book, I like this better than, like, other shit that I've listened to recently. It's to cut more to the heart of the matter than a lot of shit that I've, like, subjected systems and, ideas to help me improve myself. I'm just like, I'm resonating with this one very strongly. So, I'm not sure, I haven't listened to the whole book yet, but, like, the first chapter really impressed me with it.
Getting away from PBJs, points to the white bread. I thought this whole time it was the peanut butter jam, but it was really you! Yeah. I honestly prefer a whole wheat bread anyway. I've never really been a fan of white bread. It's too just bleh. Wheat, at least, like, the wheat bread at least has, like, some flavor to it, you know what I mean? White bread is just, like, too, like, flavorless.
I want to be the emperor of the world, but maybe president of the United States is a fucking step on that path. But I feel like...
I mean, you basically are. You just have a term limit.
Take the oath of office, and I don't want to lie to the people. I don't want to say I'm going to do everything in my power to protect the Constitution or whatever, when I really want to get rid of it. Replace it with something more to my liking.
True.
I don't know. I don't want to be I don't know. Deceit seems wrong.
Oh, I make exceptions for Uncrushables.
But I guess, maybe if I told people in advance, like, hey, I'm going to do this oath, but it's only because of ceremony and ritual. I don't mean a fucking word of it.
At least when it comes to, like, loaf breads, I also like a lot of different loaf breads.
I guess then it'd be fun.
Like 18 grain, like honey oat, all sorts. Like, I mean,
I don't think I'd win.
Usually I'm the one who's, like, going to look at some weird-ass bread and be like, I'm going to grab that.
But we'll see.
I'm not, like, a bread aficionado or, like, a major stickler for it, but if I want some loaf of bread, I'm going to get, like, a little something that's got some extra shit besides just bread.
I'll pale guy.
Even if it's just like, you know, wheat bread, because at least it's got like, you know, the wheat. Because that's, I mean, how it traditionally should be anyway.
I've never heard of that person, Zoltan, whatever the fuck, but that sounds interesting.
You look sleepy.
Most infamous scammer in the
Oh my god, well, Jesus Christ. That was an insane, magnificent yawn.
Do you like this streamer?
Oh.
I can't really say that I've watched enough Sandra Hall to know the answer to that. Follow him on Twitter, seems fine there. I don't know.
I just, that little noise.
Scam situation. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I have such trouble finding...
Like, he makes those type of noises way more than he barks, but he's been more barky lately. I'm wondering if he's starting to get a lot of what his older siblings do now. Not really so much, in public, though. He never does that in public. He's actually pretty quiet. If anything, he'll do that weird yawn where he's like, "Wee!" doing that. He kind of perked his ear up to that. But, yeah, when he does that, like, he'll do that at people, like, pet me. Like, that's his way of pretty much doing that.
Still shout outs, Oreos.
And it's just like...
I'm not like a kid.
And pretty much, it goes every time. It works every time. Because every time he does that, he's like, "Oh, can I pet him?" And I'm like, "Of course, yeah." In fact, like, I need to get, like, a utility vest thing where I can put, like, some patches on him. Because I want to get a patch, you know, that says, "If I stare at you, I demand you pet me," or some shit like that. Because, I mean, it pretty much is the case. Like, if he looks at you, he's going to pretty much demand you pet him. Like, if you're within, like, a 3 feet radius, like, it's gonna pretty much be, like, almost like an obligatory thing for him.
But it was kind of interesting to see.
Like, he will be upset if he doesn't get, like, loved on. And if he starts moving away from that person, he's gonna be even more upset after that.
Look at that broken down in terms of, like, here's the fucking calories you consumed. Here's, you know, the amount of carbs.
Look at that little chungus boy, just being all lazy. Sweet boy. Okay, well, you know, why is it so fucking foggy? Hold on.
That was interesting.
Did that fix it? Like, at all?
My goal ultimately...
That somehow made it worse. Oh my god.
About 3,000 to 3,500 calories.
There we go. That fixed it.
Try to keep
mostly.
Carbs down as much as possible.
Oh.
So the problem with that, though, is, like, a lot of carbs are fiber, which I don't want to limit, but it's kind of hard to know.
Oh, that sweet little baby.
Like, what kind of carbohydrates you're dealing with in something. You kind of just gotta look and, like, compare.
So I know a little better. Yeah. It's a little bit. Honestly, it's probably just because I had my phone out at work and stuff, and I had a charger on one of the desks there, so frankly, you know, I didn't wipe the bottom of my phone down. I did for the top of it before I started this, to make sure at least this camera's okay. But I didn't for the bottom of it, so honestly, there's probably some grease residue, some oils and stuff. That's why I probably smeared first, because it was just the residue of it, and because it's not hot or anything, it's just gonna smear first. And that's pretty much just what it was. I bet if I, like, looked at it, it's gonna be like a tiny grease smear. Yay! Working in Delhi. Where it's like, damn it, got a grease smear.
Chronic pacer, which means that I
Okay,
burn a lot of calories that way, and I'm a fidgeter, which actually you wouldn't think.
Well, you know what? I actually have some on my arm a little bit. I have like a couple of dotlets of some grease burns from working earlier because I was cleaning one of the fryers and I turned it off like 10 minutes prior and it was still hot and
So I'm actually a
some splashed on me, so I'm seeing like some droplets of it on just on me.
a calorie consuming machine, especially when it comes to carbohydrates. Now, yesterday when I
Seems there's just seeing grease on me because I guarantee you I do, but I guess I don't.
I found it very fucking difficult.
See what Zukov thinks about the issue. Head cloud shows the Earth on fire. Fury chorus music playing.
Today, getting over 3,000 calories was like a fucking cinch because I was just like, you know what?
If anything, he's probably thinking about that this weird like this weird bone thing that he found the other day.
Super easy.
And he just utterly destroyed it earlier now. Like, he's probably, sitting digesting it up now. Like, this weird, like, bone joint thing that he picked up somewhere. Which I'm either thinking that he jacked it from one of the neighbor's dogs, honestly. He buried it, unburied it, and it was, like, covered in dirt, all day today. But yet he, like, he was going to fucking town over it. And if you got anywhere near him with it, he would literally just run away from you. He just like, no, it's mine. And you just like do this little like, fuck you, like little motion at you, like, no, it's mine. Like, Zukov has a lot of body language and like a lot of grunt and like little noises. Like, that's how he communicates a lot of times. It's just so cute and funny. I mean, I'm glad they at least, does that more so than barking away like his older siblings. Because, oh my god, they will literally bark over fucking anything. I think they got a lot of that Chihuahua, Dachshund, fucking Pomeranian, more so than Zukov did. Because he's a lot more just territorial about it. Like, if he can't see what the fuck is going on, like, like he has a bunch of times earlier, be boofing off. Going bark mode, but... Basically, it's just, if anyone's that he doesn't recognize is near his house, he'll do it. Or just hearing random noises. Or even a squirrel. If he's outside and sees a squirrel, he'll just try to walk up to it, and the squirrel will be like, fuck you, and just run off, but... at least if it's inside, he will just, go boof mode. And do a lot of growling, like, And he starts kind of sounding like a fucking, like, diesel truck, starting to rev up or some shit. At least sometimes. Like, sometimes it'll just be a full-on guttural growl, like, but sometimes it'll just be like, like, it'll sound like, some engine revving up or some shit. Like, he's just, like, when he's vocal, he's definitely a little weird about it, but in a way, I'm glad he is. I mean, I especially just love how he just does all these little, like, like these random little like noises like that. They're just the most absurd, cutest little noises ever. I'm grabbing tea. Goof. Oh my god, you stretch. Oh my god, that is so cute. Oh my goodness, you sweet baby. Oh, we got the last half of that. That was alright. That was good. That little I love it when any like animal does that little like that little paw thing, like, oh my god. Especially when cats do it, like, cause they'll get both their paws and just like just smush their face. They'll just go full on smush mode. But that was just cute. How did I get, like, so high up there? Like, what the fuck? I guess my voice being raspy kind of helps with that. Got a little bit of a rasp. Oh, you're just such a cute boy. Yeah, I actually could tell he's kind of grown pretty significantly in the past, like, couple weeks. He actually definitely does look a little bit more bulkier, and his head looks bigger, actually. I've just kind of started to notice. Cats, I'm not doing this to be cute. I'm just okay, TJ. I still have TJ in the background. He literally just took his shirt off. It's like, yep, this is our new emperor, guys. Yep. Goddamn. Oh my god, he's just going all out. He's like, alright, here's out. Don't give a fuck. What's up, y'all? I'm your new god. What the fuck? I'm just gonna keep it. I don't even care. Fuck it. I'm trying to keep myself from scratching you. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what cats are doing. And even then, they don't give a fuck.
I have no urge to listen to your local band. Sorry.
It's just like how just teaches like blap, shirts off, hair's out, don't give a fuck.
Yep.
What's up?
How's the back, the hair after the shave? I don't know. I shaved it. I think it's like.
Hey, his shit's actually coming back pretty good. Honestly, he's not as hairy back there as I thought he would be when it comes to his back, actually.
You tell me.
So, wow. I thought he would be a full-on hairy beast because, damn, his chest and shoulders are. But his back actually isn't. Straight up, I actually thought it would be.
No.
But it wasn't.
TJ's transformation into DJ. That's true. Your back is wide. Yep. Truth. Is the Shapiro episode next week going to be public eventually? It's not next week. It's June 15th. No. The whole point of it is to draw people behind the Patreon paywall. Like, it's
Duh. Dude, I can't wait for that Shapiro Gauntlet, dude.
So releasing it to the public.
This Shapiro Gauntlet, dude, it's gonna be the equivalent of that Shapiro episode. Dude, you know Paul's gonna do like what that Ben Shapiro episode they did. Like, he blew up at least twice.
Face me. Just fucking become a
And fucking straight up, like, depending on how long it goes for, Paul will do that at least like 5 or 6 times. And I'm gonna live for it so much. Honestly, I feel like all of them will pop off, multiple times at least. Oh my god, knowing Ben Shapiro, man. Oh god, would I be able to fucking make it? I guess, well, yeah, I guess because of the commentary it's gonna help. It'll make it digestible, but man, knowing that the main dish is Ben Shapiro though, and we have to have this, I mean, if it wasn't for the deep fat fry seasoning, I could not, I don't know, man. I like, just on my own, there's dead ass, like, maximum, probably only, like, 2 or 3 minutes of Ben Shapiro I could take. The Shapiro episode, aka the day Paul was pushed too far, what caused Paul's stroke, and my favorite, the quake that caused the Paul eruption. I also remember the, back when they did clips for their Flash Friday episodes, where they did one on, Ben Shapiro, does a whole abortion, blah, 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 and Paul just went the fuck off, like, and basically dropped him. And, like, what was the name of the fucking video specifically?
I would like to have less fat on my body. For sure.
Deep fat fried.
I'd like to be noticeably and visibly
Ben. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was Paul's ego literally froze Ben Shapiro screaming into an active volcano. It was that video. And actually, they did 2 episodes. Well, yeah, okay, so yeah, they did. I think. Well, no, they have a segment from before it was a public episode, but then they released it as a public episode. Ben Shapiro, I guess, DFF 126, and then they have the segment of it. Ben Shapiro on universal healthcare and abortion. Yeah, so.
I don't know. Maybe. Who win a fight, 2011 TJ or you now?
Man, they have a lot of segments, and knowing that they're having an entire Patreon episode again on Ben Shapiro, oh fuck, dude. The endless gauntlet that is Shapiro. Ugh. Even just thinking about it is just draining me further. Like, I was already starting to get pretty drowsy now, but, like, goddamn. Because we're close to the 4-hour mark, I'm like, alright, can I push it there?
Probably me.
But part of me is also thinking
Was 2011 TJ
a little bit of some snacks. I got some snacks over here. I'm just like, hey, I kind of want to smack down on some of those.
I don't know. 2011 TJ had
Oh,
rage.
what's up, blah. You look so sleepy.
2022 TJ still has rage. But, maybe not, I don't know, maybe not as fiery.
DJ is definitely fiery.
He's going the distance.
He's undermining himself, which is kind of funny to say considering how much of an ego birth TJ's had, but he's kind of undermining himself. He thinks, like, the fire isn't really there. It's like, yeah, it is. I mean, I think, honestly, especially his latest couple videos on his Mason Atheist channel is really kind of showing that a little bit. Honestly, I know at least one of them. I forget which one, but I know one of them, I think. And honestly, really all of them so far, I think, have been his best videos yet. I suppose it's kind of hard to quantify because that's so fucking many of them over the years.
Alright. I'm getting kind of bored, so I think I'm gonna go. Go find something else to entertain myself. Go find some other activity to indulge in. But it was enjoyable to talk to you guys for the last 2 hours.
Oh.
Hope you enjoyed it as well. Yeah, I had a little bit of a bump today.
I don't think it's been 2 hours for him.
You know, I'm still... You know, I'm
Because it was, well, I think it was about like 2 hours into mine when I saw him do his. Has it? Well, I guess it has. Oh, well, whatever.
Pretty much the peak of a bull market, so, you know, there was no fucking...
Mostly just a chill evening anyway, especially considering our work has been nice and chill, at least for today.
But anyway,
actually, there was this weird thing that, you know, I'm trying to kind of figure out a little bit, because there's just been this dude that's been coming by, and he came by twice today, asking about one of our coworkers who wasn't working today, but asking if he was, and it was just like, no, he's not today. In fact, he didn't even really necessarily know his name. Like, he said some other random name first, and I was just like, huh? Who? Like, I was first like, yeah. I was like, wait, who? Wait, hold on. We don't have anyone named that back here. And it's like, oh, I meant blah blah blah. I was like, oh, well, he's not working today. I think he was only working these days so far this week. It's like, oh, well, okay. But then he just kind of walked off and left, and just as he was walking away, it was kind of like looking at us a little bit, just, you know, like, just weirdly. And then later tonight, once we got off, he was there again, walking around and shit, and started kind of looking at us again a little bit. I was just like, what the fuck? It's like, this dude is just like, well, it was kind of a little sussy as fuck, and honestly, especially knowing that one of our coworkers at least has a little bit of a meth issue. I'm thinking, and well, at least me and my other coworker were thinking, like, this dude probably is dead ass, like, you know, probably trying to, like, get a hookup or some shit. Because, like, I mean, he wouldn't be hanging around so close around here, you know, trying to get, you know, in touch with somebody that he doesn't even really necessarily know the name well of, and try to get, like, a hookup of something. Just doesn't really make much sense outside of that. And it's just like, I mean, can't really do shit. Can't really do anything about it. It's like he's not really stealing anything or anything like that. So he's just fucking... I mean, it's just like knowing that this type of shit is probably like a brewing and fucking a thing. It's just like, this just doesn't need to be at the workplace. Like, oh my god, ugh. And honestly, I'm kind of wanting to figure it out a little bit. Like, I kind of want, like, if I can, you know, if I have a day where I do get a chance to meet with my other coworker that has this buddy that doesn't even really know his name, it's like, I'm sure I'm just gonna ask him, it's like, who's this dude? You got a dude that keeps coming by that he doesn't even really know his name, but keeps wanting to meet you. Like, who is this dude? Like, I mean, you know, just see what the fuck he says, because, like, I mean, this has been a kind of a reoccurring thing, and it's like, huh? Seems a little suspect in my mind, honestly. Especially considering that, you know, when it comes to shit like meth, it just really just like, look, what if if that shit is going on, just keep it out of fucking work. Like, fuck. Because, especially for me, I don't want to be having to, like, you know, randomly be seen or dealing with this shit. Like, seriously. Part of me is kind of hoping that I don't see to do it again, because it's going to be a little absurd if he does. But anyway. That all being said, I'm going to load this last little bowl up, get myself some, get some food, my little snacks, my little stoner snacks, just a couple Pop-Tarts and this little lemon cake. I'm not, like, super ready to be knocked out quite yet, so I'm thinking I'll probably play a little bit of video game. I'm thinking that's kind of on my agenda of things. Oh. Oh. You sweet baby. This ridiculous little fluff. Oh my god. Wow. Absurd. Ridiculous. Wow, what a cute little boy. But anyway, peace out. Of course,